Another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you on this Red Friday. We have so much to get into over the course of the next 4 hours of the show. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to head to Lawrence, Kansas. They play an important basketball game later today against North Carolina, and at some point today, I will compliment the Kansas Jayhawks. I am not going to tell you when it is scheduled for me to compliment the Kansas Jayhawks. I just want, if that's the kind of content that you're here for, I want you listening to the entire show because you never know when it could be. It could be the lead of the show. It could be in the final 2 minutes of the show. But I promise you today that I will compliment the Kansas Jayhawks. That will happen on today's edition of The Drive. We're going to head to Lawrence coming up in a bit. Nate Taylor is going to join us in studio. We might take a trip to Denver, Colorado coming up in a little bit. We might go to Cincinnati between now and the end of the show. Who knows where today's journey is going to take us? I am here because I'm here every day. Haven't missed a single day of the football season. I look in front of me, and that's usually where my right-hand man, my ace, my dog, Rob. But no, he's on Mass Street, probably with a beer in hand right now, probably at Burger Bar. Maybe he's at Jefferson's, just having a great time while I'm here at work using PTO. That's for something important, not a little basketball game. Certainly not in November. Very disappointed in Rob. Very disappointed in you if you neglected your work responsibilities to go to a little basketball game on a Friday. So I will make it. Hopefully you will make it. Let's get through the day together. Let's have a good day. Let's have some fun. But before we do any of that, I can't think of anything more fun than giving away pizza.
That's right. Even though Rob is not here, it's still pizza time on The Drive. Pizza Tasio, Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, has taken over Kansas City. Pizza Tasio lovingly uses 100% whole milk mozzarella, all organic tomato sauce, and locally grown fresh ingredients, all made by Casey guys who love and know pizza. Pizza Tasio has locations in Waldo, Belton, North Kansas City, OP, and Midtown. Pizza Tasio has a killer selection of craft and local beers and unique wines. So whether it's a slice or a whole pie, order at pizzatasio.com. That's pizza, Tascio.com.
All right, I need you guys to do me 3 favors today. Number one, I need you to rebuke Rob for missing work today to go to Kansas, North Carolina. I also need you listening to the show every day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. I also need you to tell one friend. It'd be great if you tell 2 friends, but you know what? I'm not going to be greedy. This might be a first in Drive history. I got to keep you guys on your toes. I've been doing this long enough that I never want you to turn on the radio and you can expect certain things. When you guys think my take is going to be left, I try to go right. When you think I'm going to zig, I try to zag. That's what keeps you guessing. I'm not leading with the Chiefs today. We'll talk about the Chiefs in the open. That's not going to be the first sports opinion I give you. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a history lesson, a little bit of a journey before we get to the Chiefs. Now, some audio I'm going to play might upset you. It might trigger you, but it is important audio to play for the basis of this conversation. Do you guys remember this?
We'll see y'all in Burrowhead. Yeah, baby. Let that see you in mind. We'll see y'all in Burrowhead.
See you in Burrowhead, huh? Okay, all right, interesting. That's, all right, that was certainly a choice. You might also remember this because there were a lot of things that the Cincinnati Bengals did to try to get under the skin of the Kansas City Chiefs, and none of it worked.
Good afternoon, Cincinnati. I have a proclamation from the desk of the mayor. Be it proclaimed, whereas the Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Burrowhead Stadium for their 2nd consecutive AFC Championship game. Whereas at last year's game, the Bengals scored more points than the Chiefs, resulting in a Bengals victory and a Chiefs loss. Whereas Joseph Lee Burrow, who's 3-0 against Mahomes, has been asked by officials to take a paternity test confirming whether or not he's his father. Whereas all season long, Cincinnati has been on a path of destiny, fighting it out to overcome anyone who stands between them and a Super Bowl win. And whereas Kansas City is named after its neighboring state, which is, just kind of weird. Now, therefore, I, Aftab Pureval, Mayor of the City of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim January 29th, 2023 as They Gotta Play Us Day in Cincinnati. Thank you.
Before we get to the Chiefs, I would like to give you 3 stats. Since that piece of audio that I played for you, the Bengals are 13-15. Since that piece of audio I played for you, the Bengals are 7-7 in home games. Since that audio I played you, the Bengals have played 3 additional times at Arrowhead. They have lost all 3 of those games. Now, I was going back and forth with Chiefs fans, and who knows what team you're a fan of. A lot of people saying, oh, you can't count Cincinnati out. Every team that Cincinnati has beaten this season is 2-7. Cincinnati has not done anything in 2024 to prove to us that they are a good team. We have to quit this. Well, I mean, I'm happy they lost because I don't want to see them in the postseason. What's been so odd to me about that conversation, at least coming from Chiefs fans, is you watch the Chiefs every week and you see the makeup of what it is to be a good team. The Chiefs win close, tightly contested one-score games. The Chiefs arguably have the best defense in the AFC. They might have the best defense in the whole damn National Football League. The Bengals don't have any of the qualities that you have. The Bengals, they love losing one-score games. They lost one yesterday. The Bengals, you have the best defense. The Bengals have the worst defense. That is not hyperbole. Every team in the AFC has allowed fewer points than the Cincinnati Bengals. They don't have a home. Their home isn't in Cincinnati, and their home's not in Burrowhead. They're 7-10 in those 2 places. We got to stop talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. I know I'm guilty because we are leading the show with the Cincinnati Bengals. Stop talking to me about them. When they get back over 500, we can have another conversation about the Cincinnati Bengals. But you don't need to actively be rooting against the Eastern time zone Denver Broncos. That's who they've been for the last 2 years. You don't need to spend your time actively rooting against the Eastern time zone Arizona Cardinals. That's who they've been for the last 2 seasons. Stop being afraid of that team. I know one time they beat Kansas City. Kansas City plays poorly, and people like me call them their rival, and they always play close games. The Bengals do what all these other teams do when they play the Chiefs. They lose. And it's not just the Bengals' problem, like they can't beat Kansas City. They're 13-15 since those comments. They haven't been able to beat anybody over the course of the last 2 years. So leave me alone with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't want to talk about them. I do want to talk about this. There are 3 things that I'm looking for in this upcoming matchup. Number 1, can the Chiefs kind of create some distance in these games? Now, I'm not knocking it. This is not a complaint of, well, the Chiefs aren't beating these teams by enough. No, I'm not asking the Chiefs to go out here and blow these teams out, but every game kind of has you on pins and needles at the end, whether it's the Ravens and the Isaiah Likely play, whether it's last week and the Buccaneers' decision to not kick or to kick the extra point and not go for 2. It's just a little bit on edge. It would be great to go into the 4th quarter feeling good, you know? Are the Chiefs up 21-10 in this matchup, or is it just going to be every single week is just stressful in the last 15 minutes of things? The second thing that I'm looking forward to is I want to see more of DeAndre Hopkins. This is now week 3. They're 1 week away from playing the Buffalo Bills, and he was phenomenal last week. Now, I'm not anticipating that every game D-Hop's going to have 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. That doesn't seem very realistic, but it does feel like this is potentially giving a little bit of extra juice to D-Hop's career, and this offense could certainly use some extra juice and some extra pizzazz. And that's exactly what I think he provided. There's still not a lot of great options on this team when you were talking about the passing game. You got Travis Kelce, D-Hop, and right now there's no one else consistent in this offense. Justin Watson hasn't been consistent. Noah Gray hasn't been consistent. McCole Hardman. Now, some of that is just by design and how the offense is. Sometimes it's your night. We've seen it be McCole Hardman's night. We've seen it be Justin Watson's night. We've seen it be Noah Gray's night. But you can never count on that on a game-by-game basis. what is the sort of floor and expectation for DeAndre Hopkins? And the last thing here, and we're going to get to Lawrence, Kansas here coming up in a bit, is I think for the most part, this offense has figured out the role for almost all of its skill position pieces. I know exactly how they're going to use McCole Hardman. You know exactly how they're going to use Travis Kelce. I think we're figuring out how they're going to use DeAndre Hopkins, but we also have a decade worth of evidence to kind of tell you what to expect from D-Hop. I don't know what to expect from Xavier Worthy right now. Xavier Worthy could have 2 catches for 17 yards in this game. He could have 7 catches for 90 yards, and this be the turning corner of his season, kind of like what we saw last year with Rashee Rice. So I look at this offense right now. They don't have a whole lot of question marks on the field. They have question marks off the field. When's Isaiah Pacheco coming back? When does Juju Smith-Schuster come back? They have those kind of question marks. But on the field, we kind of know who everybody is. Justin Watson's been here a while. Noah Gray, those cast of characters, they've been here a while. Xavier Worthy is new, learning. He's a rookie. We talk about the rookie learning curve when an Andy Reid's offense. Well, we are now shifting into the second half of the season. Are they going to find a more consistent role for him and really utilize his very unique playmaking ability and speed to help break the game open? So those are some things that I'm looking for in this matchup. We'll obviously break it down further over the course of today's show. I'm looking forward to Sunday's game. I think it's going to be pretty close. I think it's going to be competitive. I think the Broncos are a little bit better than maybe the public thinks that they are. I think they've shown that they're pretty competitive. They can run the football. They've got a good defense. Those are usually the formula of a team that's a little bit better than people think. I think the Broncos are ultimately going to end up making the postseason as a 6 or a 7 seed. We'll talk more about that over the course of the show. But let's head to the phone lines coming up in just a bit. We're going to head to Lawrence, Kansas. They have an important basketball game today against North Carolina. We'll catch up with Michael Swain next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Yeah, there are so many football games streaming this season. Can Xfinity Internet handle it?
Oh, we know the game is only live once, so we built a network with all-pro speeds and low lag so you don't miss a snap.
So I can yell, "He's open!" when he's actually open?
Yeah, but the quarterback still can't hear you.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and TV and enjoy instant access to your favorite live sports with the Xfinity Stream app. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Streaming content limited to the U.S. Programming subject to change.
I've told you guys for a while now, my car's starting to get up there in age. And so it was such a relief when I got to drive a brand new truck from my friends over at Max Motors up to training camp just a year or so ago. It made me not have to worry about the reliability of my car, and I knew I was working with the best in the Midwest. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the highest trade-in values in the Midwest as well. And you can shop online at maxmotors.com. And right now they have the largest heavy-duty sale of the year. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. They also have new 2025 Ram 1500s up to $14,000 off MSRP. Stock number S250009. So if you're thinking about that new ride, now's a great time to head over to Max Motors, whether it's maxmotors.com or heading down to one of the locations in the Kansas City area. Max Motors, your Midwest dealer. See dealer for details. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 12/12/2024.
Come join me, Andrew Filippone.
And me, Patrick Peterson, 3-time NFL All-Pro cornerback on First and Pod for premier NFL coverage and conversations.
Our motto on the podcast is every team, every week, and we don't play favorites. Every episode, you get a glimpse of the entire National Football League with First and Pod. Follow and listen to First and Pod on Mondays and Fridays on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's face it, Nowadays, most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We'll get back to the Chiefs here coming up in just a bit. But the University of Kansas, they played North Carolina in a basketball game today, in a game that college basketball needs a lot more of. I understand that the sports landscape has changed. Football is bigger now than it was 20 years ago. There's more games on more channels, and it takes up more real estate. There's games on Thursday. The Chiefs play on a Friday this year. We had another Friday game earlier in the year. There's just more football than ever before, and you can't really compete with that if you were the other sports. But what you can do is you can create must-watch games for your hardcore fans, and that's what college basketball needs to do. You're not going to be able to beat the NFL or the college football regular season, but create more fun games for your sport. Tonight, having KU play North Carolina on campus and these two schools agreeing to a home and home, there are no negatives. What's the negative if you lose at Allen Fieldhouse? If you're Kansas, what's the negative if you lose to North Carolina? We're talking about teams that can win their conference, teams that can go win the national championship. College basketball needs more of this. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Michael Swain. He covers the Jayhawks for 24/7 Sports. Michael, man, happy to have you back on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Let's just start with this. How did this agreement come together? You know, usually this is the game that would happen at a neutral site. This game would be at the Barclays Center, or this game would be in Vegas, kind of like Kansas and Duke coming up in a couple of weeks. How did this agreement come together to get North Carolina to come to Allen Fieldhouse?
Yeah, well, so that's a great question. This is something that Bill Self hit on a little bit yesterday, and I think there are two parts to this. Self and KU have been all about scheduling hard games, right? Like playing UConn last year is not a game that you see very often, and maybe eventually we'll see KU go play in stores. But, you know, Bill Self has not been afraid of having these types of games, and I think his willingness to make this a home and home, and you got to give, you know, Hubert Davis credit too for being willing to do this, where now, as we get into a new age of college athletics and revenue sharing being an important thing, these schools have to find out ways to get as much revenue as possible. And so I think you will, to your point on the open, see more schools do stuff like this, because KU is going to make a good amount of money from this game, and it's going to really drive some revenue. And guess what? Next year, North Carolina is going to get the return game, and they're going to make a lot of money off of it. And a lot of these decisions now are going to come down to the bottom line. And so this was scheduled, I think, over a year ago. before a lot of this revenue sharing stuff came about. And it was more about getting two historic programs together to go play on each other's floors. And both coaches were okay with it. And it's definitely going to be, I wouldn't maybe surreal. I think it's a really cool thing that you can see this in college basketball, right? You see it a little bit in college football, but even then they're trending towards having those, Clemson, Georgia type of games at neutral sites. The fact that you can see North Carolina and Kansas play in Lawrence and then play in Chapel Hill next year, it's a really cool thing. And so I think it's something that you're going to see a lot more of now that revenue in the bottom line is becoming so much more critical in college athletics.
Michael, do we know if Roy Williams is going to be there tonight?
No, he will not be. He said he actually gave a really interesting quote about it. He said he doesn't want to be there and clap when the other team scores. So obviously insinuating he'd be clapping if North Carolina scores while sitting in Allen Fieldhouse. So he will not be. I believe Larry Brown was expected to be there. I've not heard officially if he's in Lawrence today yet.
So I was just curious because just this game, it's kind of difficult to escape sort of his shadow that's over the game. It'd have been cool if he had did like a Donna Kelsey split jersey kind of thing and had the KU North Carolina thing. That's what I was hoping we were going to get today.
I would kill to see Roy Williams with a hoodie on underneath wearing a split, like a basketball jersey. That'd be incredible. But you're right. Like, and you look at these two programs, and there's so much intertwined. Like, you go Dean Smith, Larry Brown, Roy Williams. Like, there's so much history intertwined. And you look at the two coaches now, and it's Bill Self, who doesn't have anything to do with North Carolina, and Hubert Davis, who has nothing to do with Kansas. And so it's just a different era now of this matchup where maybe we do see these two teams play a little bit more frequently than we have, where really the last, 10, 12 years has really just been NCAA tournament and then maybe the off MTE type of Thanksgiving tournament. So I think this is the type of game now that the head coaches don't necessarily have skin in it with the other school, that maybe you'll see this a little bit more often where it isn't such an emotional game or such an emotionally tied game for the two head coaches with the other schools. So it is interesting. Obviously, I'm bummed that Roy Williams will not be there because I think it would have been really cool to see him there and obviously get the reception from the Allen Fieldhouse fans again.
So I was at the UConn game last year. I would have gone to the game tonight, but it was at 6, and it's hard to kind of make that, with given where our show ends. What are you expecting tonight, and are there going to be any surprises? Like, I've been to a lot of Allen Fieldhouse games. That game just felt different, and it was really a who's who was there. Sue Bird was there. Jason Sudeikis there. It was a real everybody who was everybody was at the KU and UConn game last year. This is a equally as big game. What kind of special thing does KU have planned today?
Well, so first and foremost, right, this is going to be the first real true game since these renovations have been completed. Even walking to the press conference yesterday, there's some new stuff that's been put in since the Howard game earlier this week on Monday. So, like, the renovations, even though they've been completed to get games in, like, this is going to be the first full thing where you're going to see the new, the new video boards, obviously, but, like, the new sound system and the lights and the atmosphere. And it's going to be the first real taste of what this new renovated Allen Fieldhouse is going to feel like. And as for special guests, I have not heard of any yet, but outside of, I think, Larry Brown being one that in terms of the North Carolina ties will be there. And in terms of celebrities, I don't know yet. I guess we'll probably have to see who will get shown on the Jumbotron when the game starts.
Right now, we're talking to Michael Swain. He's with 24/7 Sports, covers the Jayhawks, getting you ready for their game coming up later today against North Carolina. All right, let's talk about the on-the-court Kansas Jayhawks. I haven't watched them yet. I wasn't watching on Monday night to watch them play Howard. I will watch every dribble today. I wasn't watching them play the Howard Bison. I'm sorry, Michael. I know you had to watch them. I didn't have to watch them on Monday. But I am excited to watch them today. How is KU different than they were last year? That team didn't have a whole lot of depth last year, but Bill Self, they went out there and loaded up in the portal. They got their NIL money together, and this is drastically a new team than last season.
Yeah, it is. And look, you mentioned being at the UConn game last year. Well, KU basically played 6 guys. Johnny Furphy was the only bench player to play more than 10 minutes. This will be very different, and I am expecting KU to go 8-9 deep in this game. And a lot of that's just due to the recruiting that's happened. I want to see what the starting lineup looks like. Maybe Zeke Mayo will start instead of David Coit this time. But you look at what was coming off the bench against Howard. It's Zeke Mayo, the Summit League Player of the Year. It was A.J. Storr, a second-team All-Big Ten player last year. It's Floyd Badunga, a five-star McDonald's All-American. Those are the guys coming off the bench. And you look back to last year, and it's like Nick Timberlake from Towson, Parker Brown from Santa Clara. Like, it's a very different feel coming off the bench for KU, and I think this team's going to have the chance to throw a lot of issues at other teams. And you look at what North Carolina brings with their guards and R.J. Davis and what he does. They're going to really test what KU has, and this is going to be a really good, benchmark for guys like Zeke Mayo and David Coit, because those two guys have played at lower levels of college basketball, and they haven't played against the elite of the elite in terms of the skill and athleticism that guards like North Carolina's have. So it's going to be a really interesting game to see how some of those guys fare defensively, because for so long, right, Bill Self has been he coaches up the defense and the offense can kind of be what it is at points. This year, this is a high-powered offensive team, and it's going to take some defensive coaching up from Self. And so we're really going to see where some of these newcomers are, because we know what to expect from DeJuan Harris and KJ Adams. And at this point in time, you know what Hunter Dickinson is defensively. You're not changing that. But can guys like, Coit, Zeke Mayo, can A.J. Storr buy in on the defensive end? What does Rylan Griffin bring you defensively? Those are the guys at a game like tonight, we're going to learn a lot about where they're at. And that's what's really exciting about these games, coming so early in the season. This isn't another bye game where, walking in the stadium, KU's going to win by 25 tonight. Like, this is a game where I think the spread's at like 7.5. I think this is going to be around that number, maybe a little closer. Like, I think this is going to be a really great game.
Yeah, I guess you and I are probably closer than I'm now about to paint it. I think KU wins like 82-70. This just feels like a game that's close for the first 35 minutes. KU hits a couple of big shots. The crowd kind of takes over. KU ices this with free throws, and they win. We already know how difficult it is to win in that building. I'm sitting here looking at StubHub right now. The cheapest ticket they have on StubHub right now is $291. So we're talking about Allen is going to be, this is next level kind of KU energy. There's not a college basketball team in the last 20 years I think would go into that building tonight and be competitive.
No, and that's a good point. So I was listening to a podcast, North Carolina podcast, with Joel Berry, who obviously played there, and he talked a lot about going into some of the big atmospheres in college basketball and how important it is to try and treat it like any other game. That's going to be really hard to do if you're North Carolina or even if you're Kansas, right? That's something that some of the guys talked about yesterday, was the fact that as they're going to practice and as they're walking around Allen Fieldhouse to get to the locker room, like, they see students sitting out, and that's different for guys that were at, Northern Illinois or Alabama. And so it's going to feel like a big game, and I think the team that is able to deal with that the best is going to win. And I got to give UConn credit last year, because they battled, and they really did a great job of not letting that atmosphere get to them. And obviously we'll have to see how North Carolina deals with it, because you're right. This is an arena that when it gets on top of you, it's really hard to get from out from under it, especially when the other team is really, really talented like this year's team is.
A couple of final questions here. We're talking to Michael Swain. He covers the Kansas Jayhawks for 24/7 Sports. They got a big game coming up later today against North Carolina. Hunter Dickinson, I know he didn't play in the exhibition game against Arkansas. How is he? He healthy? He good? What's Hunter Dickinson's status for today?
Yeah, he'll be able to play. He was able to go against Howard on Monday. It still looked like he was getting his feet under him a little bit, just in terms of the practices that he missed and some of the conditioning, just running up and down the floor. So he'll be good to go. KU will be without Shaquille Moore. He's someone that transferred from Mississippi State. He's going to be a key part of this rotation. A great guard, really good defensively, downhill player. He's going to miss out with a foot injury. He had a stress fracture back in August, and he's close to being back, but he's had a couple setbacks here, and so they're kind of taking their time with him to make sure that he's good to go for the most part of the season.
Michael, give me a key for a Jayhawks win today. Tell me how North Carolina keeps this game close and puts themselves in a position to pull off the upset.
Yeah, this is a game for Carolina where they got to come out and just jack threes and hope it's one of those games, right? You've seen it before now, if you go to us, where teams come in and all of a sudden they start shooting out of their minds. Like, that's the type of game Carolina has to have. And with the way KU's going to play this year, there are going to be games where they miss shots. And there's going to be games where, they shoot 20% from three and they lose because they just didn't make shots. And so I think that, for Carolina, they're going to have to shoot a lot of threes, make them, hope KU misses them. For KU, I think it comes down to defense, right? Can those guards I mentioned earlier, can those guys come out and slow down Cadeau, Trimble, R.J. Davis, those guys. And if they're able to do that, I don't know that Carolina has the front court players to go toe-to-toe with the Hunter Dickinson or the athleticism that K.J. Adams has and the questions he can pose. So I think for KU, it's going to come down to defense. Can KU slow down those Carolina guards? And if they do, they got a great shot at winning this game.
Last thing here, Michael, R.J. Davis, you just mentioned him, great guard for North Carolina. He is definitely on the I can't believe that guy is still in college. Who's that player for you? Now, I know everybody makes the same Perry Ellis jokes, but there was definitely a guy that was in school and you were like, bro, I know you have to be done with your 4 years. How are you still playing college basketball?
Yeah, well, look, for me right now, I think it's DeJuan. You know, looking at what he's been able to do in his college career, it's incredible. He still has years left. Man, I'm trying to go back when I was in college. No, I can't think off the top of my head. But, yeah, DeJuan is just one where you look at what he's done and what he's accomplished as a starting point guard. It's incredible that we're in the year 2024, soon to be 2025, and DeJuan Harris is still playing college basketball.
Yeah, DeJuan. Now, DeJuan's not on that list for me yet. Next year, 100%. Next year, he's going to be 24 years old and turn 25 over the course of the season. So I'm not there with DeJuan Harris yet, but next year, absolutely.
Yeah, well, this is DeJuan's last year. This is the last ride for him. So
okay.
He's this is the COVID year. So he'll be wrapping up, and we're almost done with the COVID year. So I think some of these extra long players might be. Oh, here's one, Brady Manick. That's it. Yeah, thinking of Brady Manick playing at Oklahoma, and then all the things at Carolina playing the title game. That was a sight to behold.
I'll give you last one here, Michael, and I'll get you out of here. Yeah. You have to put Caleb Love in this conversation. He absolutely, bro, just go to the NBA, please.
That's hilarious. And guess what? KU's going to play Caleb Love this year, right?
Of course.
Still at Arizona, so they're going to see him again.
That is Michael Swain joining us on the show today. KU has a game against North Carolina coming up later today. Michael, man, I would tell you good luck, but it's a KU home game. They don't need it.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. That is Michael Swain joining us on the show. I like Michael Swain. Yeah, I know they're going to win today. I wish I could come up with some, counter argument, some devil's advocate argument. I don't have it, man. I know they're going to win. They're going to win. It just, what are we doing here? 7.5. It doesn't matter. It could be any number. They'll win by that number. It's Kansas basketball. It's Kansas basketball in a game that matters. I am a little bit surprised at this. UKU fans are paying this to go watch them play a regular season basketball game. Quentin, these tickets are hot right now. I'm on StubHub. I'm looking at it. Number one, there's only 47 tickets left on the whole app. 47. The cheapest ticket right now, it's $291. Not for both tickets. I'm talking about each. These are for the corners. This is for section 14, row 23. Almost $300 a ticket. I don't want to go to the KU game that bad. I can't believe you guys want to go to the KU game that bad. They play a lot other games later on in the season at Allen Fieldhouse. That's just the power of playing this very unique. This game is good for everybody is excited about this. If you like basketball, if you like college basketball, if you want to see the best college basketball players, I want to see them play more of these kind of games. So I'm happy that this is a home and home. North Carolina, you got to play at Allen, and then next year you guys got to go to the Dean Dome, and we need more of this in the sport.
If you want to drive interest in college basketball before March Madness starts, before those rankings come out, before we start talking about, who's going to win this conference so they can be in the tournament, these are the kind of games that you need to bring up because you're going to drive interest in it and you're going to keep it, especially if you keep these kind of games going all throughout the season, right? It's not just, hey, it's the first week, let's put a big game out there. If you sprinkle some of these in all throughout the college basketball season, people are going to watch it, even if, you have to fight against some of the other sports. But I can't believe that these tickets cost as much as a football game. It's like, would you rather go to a to a regular season college basketball game or a regular season Chiefs game? That's the question we're asking right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's a big, hey, man, hey, if you got it, man, I'm not mad at you for having it. I'm telling you one thing. If I was Rob, you know where I wouldn't be right now? At the basketball game. You know what I mean? I would have paid for that honeymoon. I've seen Rob's seats. He got pretty decent seats over there at Allen Fieldhouse. I wouldn't have been taken off to go to the game. I'd have been here, and I'd have been like that Scrooge McDuck. I'd have been jumping into my pile of coins is what I'd have been. I ain't got no problem giving you, oh, you want to go to the game? How much? Here you go. You can have them. How much you paying? How much you paying
put
for
that
this?
bad boy on the secondary market.
Yeah, here you go. Here, you can have these tickets. You know what? I'll go next week. It's not a big deal. You know what? I'll go. I've been to enough KU games before. I could miss this one. I'll stay at home for this one. That is definitely how I would play it. All right, this is what we'll do. Coming up in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to give you guys our parlay. Rob is not here, so that means we actually got a chance at cashing this bad boy. He's cost me in college football the last 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks, my bet is hit in college football, and his has lost in college football. So he's costing you guys on the two-leg parlay. I got Q subbing in today. Q tells me that he is a college football expert. That's what he tells me. He told me he knows college football, so he's going to step in, he's going to help us, and he's going to help you guys win your parlay. Let's talk a little bit of college football, and then I do want to get to back to the Chiefs here coming up in just a little bit. So we saw the first bracket come together in college football, and we got a couple of really important SEC games. This is, I would say, the biggest and maybe most important week in the SEC when you really think about it. So you have Alabama. They go on the road to LSU. In a lot of ways, that feels like a playoff elimination game. I mean, you're looking at an Alabama team that has 2 losses. LSU also has 2 losses. I do not think that LSU is making the college football playoff with 3 losses. Neither do I think that Alabama. So that feels like a playoff game in a lot of ways. You also have Georgia. They go on the road to play Ole Miss. Certainly a very important game for Ole Miss. They're 7-2, 3-2 in the SEC. Georgia's 7-1. They're 5-1 in SEC play. So that's a very important game as well. I also, KU fans, help me out here because I'm missing something. You're telling me that Iowa State just last week, they were undefeated, and they lost in kind of a surprising fashion, right? Surprising. Last 30 seconds, Texas Tech goes down the field, scores. They lose in that fashion. Iowa State's only a 2.5-point favorite in a neutral site game against KU. Now, we know that this is fact. If there is any city in the country that we know Iowa State fans are driving, it's to Kansas City, Missouri. They love it here. They spent more time in Kansas City, Missouri than some of you guys do when you live in Olathe. They're always here. You know they're coming over to take over the stadium. They're 7-1, KU's 2-6. They're 4-1 in Big 12. KU's 1-4, and you're telling me I can get Iowa State for less than a field goal? Something just feels very, very off about this. KU is better. KU is improved. Jalen Daniels, I think, has shown a lot of improvement over the course of the season. I think we're overreacting to a loss last week from Iowa State. I think we're overreacting. They can still make the college football playoff. They have to win out now. You take care of your business against K-State. You don't lose or slip up in any more of these spots, but we're talking about a team with real dreams and aspirations and a team that their fan base has already moved on to college football or college basketball. I'm surprised at the line in that game and that it's so close and that it's so tightly contested. Missouri, who knows what's going to happen with them. I think they're better than Oklahoma, but their quarterback, I don't know who's playing quarterback. Brady Cook playing quarterback this week, Drew Pine playing quarterback. If they got Drew Pine playing quarterback, they might as well have an auction and just let us random student play it. I don't know who the best student is on the intramural flag football team, but I assure you, him and Drew Pine have the same chances of moving the ball down the field on Sunday or Saturday against the Oklahoma Sooners. So I am very down on Missouri if Drew Pine is playing. If Brady Cook is playing, I think that they win. But if that other kid is playing, no thank you. All right, so coming up on the other side, let's give you a parlay. I'll give you a college bet that I like. So will Quentin. I'll give you an NFL. He'll do the same. And we'll also get back to Chiefs and Bengals. That's coming up. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskey, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selections that are handcrafted by our team and bottled just for you. Supply is limited. Cheers!
Hey Chiefs fans, this season it's time to share your gratitude. We want to hear from you about the Chiefs player you're thankful for. Call in and tell us your favorite Chiefs player and why they mean so much to you. Not only will you get to shout out your favorite player, but you'll also qualify to win $500 in Hy-Vee gift cards. That's right, $500 to spend on your favorite groceries, game day snacks, and more. Only at Hy-Vee. So, who's the Chief you're thankful for? Dial in now and share your story.
This Saturday and Sunday, only at Old Navy. Get $8 pajama pants for the family, plus cozy socks for just $2 in stores. It's all happening this weekend at Old Navy. Valid 11, 9, and 10. Select styles only. Limit 10 socks.
Kansas City, it's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe on Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR and Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR and Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Looking to start your new career now? Well, how about a career in IT in as little as 4 months over at our friends at Centric?
A new career by the time the big game is over in February. Just go to Centric.com and talk to our friend Russ Mondry. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ah, sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
This afternoon, expect a mostly cloudy day with a high of 56.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the show. We'll get back to Chiefs. We'll also talk about the Bengals. They are currently out of the playoff picture. A lot of you think that they're going to get back in the playoff picture. We'll also talk about the Broncos. I actually like the Broncos. I think I'm maybe a little higher on Denver than a lot of you are this year.
Broncos dot?
No, I'm Commanders dot this year.
Okay.
The Commanders are the team that I have adopted, that I've picked up. Funny enough, and the Chargers are actually kind of competitive this year. The Chargers are actually not that bad, but no, this year I have fully switched over to the Commanders. I really enjoy this Commanders team. Nate Taylor is going to join us coming up in the 4 o'clock hour as well. All right. I am hopeful that we can now give you guys an opportunity to actually hit on one of these parlays. The last couple of weeks, I've done my part in these parlays. My partner has not. Now, we are a team. I want to help you guys. So I'm going to give one college leg. Quentin's going to give a college leg. He's going to give you the odds. We're also going to do the same thing in the NFL. I know that it's chalky. This is actually the most popular bet on the board this week, but there is a reason for it. Who do you trust more in a big game? Do you trust Kirby Smart? Or do you trust Lane Kiffin in a big game? The answer is very obvious to me. You might have felt for this earlier in the season. Don't do it again. This is the same Georgia team that went on the road and gave Texas the hands and the feet and gave them the beats. You didn't take Georgia that week. You now have the opportunity to do so. And less than a field goal, you're telling me I can get it right now at 2.5. I think you have to jump on it. I've already taken it earlier in the week. I'm now encouraging you to do the same. Give me Georgia minus 2.5. I think they go on the road and take care of business in Oxford.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with what we talked about during our last segment. Iowa minus 2.5. Look, I think it's really simple. I think Iowa can play a kind of game that Kansas can just get worn down by. I don't think Kansas is that deep of a football team, and I think that this is an overreaction what we saw last week. Iowa just lost a funny game last week. We've seen Kansas blow fourth quarter leads all year, so I'm going to take Iowa at the minus 2.5. That parlay, if you take it, is going to be plus 258.
All right, plus 258. We got Georgia. So we like the two favorites. You're taking Iowa State in a neutral site scenario against KU. I'm also going to take Georgia in a neutral site scenario. Now, I know what I just said about the Commanders. And I assure you that I am a Commanders fan. You know this.
Those haters can't stand up. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders.
I'm taking Pittsburgh on the money line this week. I don't want to do it. I just think that's the best play that's out there. A rested Steelers team with that defense going up against a rookie quarterback. The Steelers offense is noticeably better now with Russell Wilson than they were with Justin Fields. They've unlocked potential in Najee Harris that he hasn't really shown at any stage so far in his career. I think the Steelers pull off the upset, and I think they're going to beat the Commanders this week. I'm not even going to take the points in this scenario. I'm going to take the Steelers on the money line. I think they're an outright winner on the road. I've doubted Pittsburgh enough this season that I'm now trying to hedge my bets a little bit, and I'm trying to veer back onto the other path. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to go on the road and beat the Washington Commanders.
I'm going to take DeAndre Hopkins anytime touchdown. I think we're starting to see what this offense can really be with DeAndre Hopkins. Patrick Mahomes immediately trusted him. I mean, we saw him throw to him in the first game on a critical third down right away. I think that this is what this offense is going to turn into. Plus 190 for that. Our two bets put together, plus 468. And if you want some more confidence, Bink and I do a pick the underdog segment every Sunday.
Okay.
I am 7-2 this year.
Ooh, look at you. Pick the doggy.
So, maybe I don't know what Rob's doing this year, how he's doing.
Might have to sub you in is what you're saying.
But at least on this side of the glass today, I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, man. So thank you. We gave you 2 parlays there. We gave you Georgia and Iowa State in the college, and we also are going to take the Steelers on the road on the money line. Also going to take an anytime touchdown from DeAndre Hopkins if you want to play that. And remember, please gamble responsibly. That's a very important message to deliver out there, to please gamble responsibly. All right, Quentin, let's talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, today you came in here, and I give you a lot of credit. You had a notebook, and I don't know if this was like Blue's Clues or something, but you had like a little handy-dandy notebook. It was actually kind of wild. You had takes in different colors, and some were blue and red, and like you wrote some things in crayon. You were way too prepared for today's show. You were more prepared than I was for the show, and that'll never happen. All right. So you came and you said, there's only one thing I want to talk about, Karen. So I'm like, what is it? You a KU fan? No, I'm not a KU fan. I'm like, all right, what is it? I want to talk about Xavier Worthy. Well, all right, my dear friend, the floor is yours. What do you think about Xavier Worthy heading into Sunday's matchup?
Well, I'm just interested to see, what does this team need from Xavier Worthy moving forward through the rest of the year? We saw that, him and Patrick Mahomes have been a little mismatched in terms of, where he's supposed to be on the field. We see that is available in terms of, man, if he could just get both feet in bounds, man, if he could just be on the right target, then there's a lot of big play potential there. And if he gets schemed open, we saw like in the early part of the season, that speed is legit. He's able to catch the football. But I'm just wondering, do we need that from Xavier Worthy anymore? With the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, is it okay to sort of put him on the back burner and maybe only give him one of those plays a game instead of trying to go out early in the game like we saw last week? He had 2 or 3 attempts right away. So what exactly do we need from Xavier Worthy to keep this offense moving forward? And to be honest, I don't think it's all that much.
Yeah, I think at least this part of the conversation, I don't know if confusing is the right word, but it's a little puzzling. Maybe that's the word I want to use. It's puzzling. Someone texted in and said, CDOT, do you agree that Xavier Worthy is not being used as a wide receiver, but more as a gadget player? I mean, I don't know many receivers that run down the field backwards and don't know where their feet are. This is maybe the thing that I understand that wide receiver has been one of those positions where guys can just kind of pop into the league and make an instant impact. You can be Malik Neighbors. You can be some of those guys. Usually not what happens at guys a little bit later in the first round or in the second round of the draft, but I definitely get it. Like, we've seen wide receivers come in, have success really early on in their career. I pulled this up on Wikipedia, and I'm going to look it up here on the NFL official site just because I want to be 100% accurate. We all watch the NFL. We all follow the National Football League. Can you guys tell me the last time that a wide receiver came into the league that at the combine was 5'11", 165 pounds, and got off to a blistering start in the NFL? There might be somebody that I'm missing, but you're telling me you're 5'11", 165 pounds, and you think you're coming into the NFL and you're being an impact wide receiver? I just think it's going to take a little bit of time with Xavier Worthy. We usually give this time kind of to other positions. We're not really giving that to Xavier Worthy. Like, I'm looking at his prospect grade. I'm on NFL.com if you guys want to follow where this is. Prospect grade. He got a 6.2. You know what it says? Will eventually become an average starter. Now, I think he can become better than an average starter or not, but I think he has a couple of things going against him. This is a completely different game. You can run around the Big 12 at 5'11", 165 pounds. You are not doing that in the NFL from day one. We're talking about this is the grown man league. You are 21 years old and undersized. You are not yet a grown man. You are an adult. You ain't a grown man. And as you've gotten older, you know that there is a drastic difference between being grown and being an adult. And if you just look at what his weaknesses are, that guy just doesn't come into the league and have instant success. He's not a 6'2", 210, long wingspan. That's not who he is as a receiver. So the kind of start that he is off to is not really that surprising to me. I also think what's hurt Xavier Worthy more than anything is I think because of the injuries, we have sort of tried to speed up his timeline where if he was put in the situation we thought he was going to be put into, you were going to have Travis Kelce, you were going to have Rashee Rice, you were going to have Hollywood Brown, you were going to have Isaiah Pacheco, and you were asking Xavier Worthy to be your fourth or fifth option where you could develop along a little slower than other guys. I don't think we would be having this conversation. I think we're having this conversation because of the scarcity. And now, oh, you're a first-round pick, you got to be that. No, we're talking about a 21-year-old guy that weighs $185 in the league. It was just always going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So I'm still holding out hope. I'm still kind of waiting and seeing when it comes to Xavier Worthy, but I would like to see them be able to eventually kind of figure out what a role for him looks like. We can keep this conversation coming up on this side. I do want to get back to the Cincinnati Bengals as they lost another game yesterday on Thursday Night Football. Let's talk about, the last two games that we have seen in the NFL, two teams had a choice. One team played for overtime, the other team didn't. Let's talk about it. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
After working with Max Motors and driving a brand new truck up to St. Joe for camp a couple years ago, I know where I'm going for my next vehicle. My car is about 10 years old. It is almost that time. And Max Motors has the best financing options available with the highest trade-in values in the Midwest. I've been shopping around online at maxmotors.com. You can do the same thing and take advantage of the largest heavy-duty sale of the year. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. Max Motors, your Midwest dealer. See dealer for detail.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan, and the other place is your sports watching headquarters this fall. Now with 5 great area locations: Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Enjoy Red Friday specials all day.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. And who isn't excited to watch the Lakers this year with LeBron and Bronny playing together? If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA and of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Are you looking for a job that'll feel more like a career you'll fall in love with? Join Odyssey. From the programming and on-air side to the business and sales side, we need you on our team. Odyssey even offers an annual fellowship program where you can learn to hone your skills from true masters of their craft. Odyssey is more than a job. It's a career you'll fall in love with. Visit odyssey.com/careers for a current listing of opportunities. That's odyssey.com/careers.
When your little one has a cold with a fever, try new DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. It's the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever offers fast, effective cold and fever relief for kids ages 6 and up with a delicious grape flavor that kids love. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever will help them feel better fast so they can get back to the fun stuff quickly. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
To all you tool people out there, has Harbor Freight got a deal for you? Big savings every single day this November. Because we know that right now, when the price of everything only seems to go up, you need a place where prices stay low. So shop in-store or online for quality tools you can trust at prices you'll love every day. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Sponsored by Robert Half.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays starting at 2 on Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Text line 913-586-7965. Someone on the text line said, well, what about Devontae Smith? Yeah, we're talking about an undersized wide receiver, but I also think it's important to note that Devontae Smith was a far better college prospect than Xavier Worthy. It's not an indictment on Xavier Worthy. I mean, Devontae Smith won the Heisman Trophy when he was in college. At wide receiver, there's, 3 of them that have won the Heisman Trophy in the last 30 years? So if that's the expectation, well, Devontae Smith did it, why can't Xavier Worthy did it? Then they're just not the same prospect. Like, not really in any way. Like, we never talked about Xavier Worthy as being an elite route runner. That is exactly what Devontae Smith was at Alabama. So I am not surprised that Devontae Smith was able to translate a lot better to the league and find a role a lot sooner. We always talked about Xavier Worthy as being the down the field speed guy. Well, if teams are taking the down the field speed stuff away from you, how else are you getting yourself open? How else are you able to impact the offense? So I certainly get the comparison. Devontae Smith was that player. That's just not who I ever expected Xavier Worthy to be.
I also think that with the production level that we got from Rashee Rice at the end of last season, I think also put pressure on Xavier Worthy, because the entire conversation about rookies in an Andy Reid system is that there have been 2 guys that have been immediately successful in an Andy Reid system as rookies. It's Jeremy Maclin and it's Deshaun Jackson. And when we were coming into last year, right, it was Rashee Rice was sort of put to the back burner because we thought we had a different style of offense. Then the offense, wide receiver-wise, fell apart, and Rice began to pick up the offense and ran with it. But that only happened at the end of the season, right? It was the back half of the season. And then coming into this year, I think there were expectations. It was like, hey, look, a rookie that was successful in the offense last year, he can pick it up too. And I just think that was already a bad comparison because of what happened during last year's offense.
Yeah, I just think that this is just kind of his role, and a lot of people are making the Deshaun Jackson comparisons. I also would argue that Deshaun Jackson was a better prospect coming out of college than Xavier Worthy. I'm fine with letting Xavier Worthy's journey kind of be what his journey is, and let's just see what he can be. I don't know if it's fair to say, well, because last year what we saw with Rashee Rice, I think we now have enough evidence to know that Rashee Rice was probably underdrafted, but because of the off-the-field stuff, that probably scared some teams off, and he fell to the second round because they kind of knew about some of the character issues behind the scenes with Rashee Rice. So I just think Rice is a little bit of a different prospect than he is. I'm willing to give Xavier Worthy a little bit more time to kind of figure this thing out and see what it looks like for him, and him just kind of figuring out the NFL game. Like, we got to give him, I think, a little bit of time to be able to figure out the NFL game. All right, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, because this is the thing about the Bengals that is a little bit surprising to me with kind of my back and forth with Chiefs fans yesterday, because some people don't really want to throw dirt on the Cincinnati Bengals. And in a lot of ways, I get why you don't want to throw dirt on the Bengals. There's really, I would say, 3 tiers of teams right now in the AFC. This is going to be oversimplistic, but I think it's also the truth. All right, there's 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the teams that we actually think can do something. Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. There's that tier. Maybe you want to put Houston and Pittsburgh into that conversation. All right, fine. But there's that tier of teams. I would then say there is the middle. The Jets are in the middle. Cincinnati's in the middle. Indianapolis, Denver, Los Angeles. There's those teams. And then the other group of teams are the dregs of the league. All the teams that have a potential chance of having the number 1 overall pick. Miami has a chance. New England has a chance. Cleveland, Jacksonville, the Raiders. All of those teams legitimately have a case to be the worst team in the National Football League. So if you're telling me that you are giving Cincinnati a chance because they're not the Raiders or the Titans, sure. Of course, I agree with that. But I just don't know what we've seen from Cincinnati over the course of the first 10 weeks of the season, what we saw last year to put them in a conversation where you think they're now about to get healthy, get right, and start playing consistent. The Bengals, since the Burrowhead comments, they are 13-15. They are 7-7 in home games. So if you've already lost to the New England Patriots, you just can't really play the schedule game with me. Oh, well, look at their schedule. They're supposed to win. Well, weren't they supposed to beat New England to kick off the season? Didn't we think coming into the year that they were supposed to beat the Washington Commanders at home? I mean, in the first 4 weeks of the season, they played 3 of the teams that picked in the top 5, and they're still under 500. Like, remember the old quote from Bill Parcells, like, you are what your record is? When does that officially kick in? Because we believe that about the good teams, right? Like, we all believe that about Kansas City. You believe that about Buffalo. You believe that about Baltimore. You believe that about Detroit. All the teams that we think are good, we believe they are what their record are. We also believe that for all the teams in the bad. I don't hear anybody telling me the Giants are way better than their record is. I don't hear anybody telling me that about Carolina or New Orleans. We're only arguing that for teams that are pretty inconsistent, that are in the middle. And I get that part of it. But what has Cincinnati done to show you that they are going to separate themselves from that group of about 10 or 11 teams and play like the first half of teams? They have used up all of their goodwill. They're 4-6. I looked a little closer at their schedule. Quentin, the Bengals have one game between now and the 1st of December. Think about that. They have one game between now and then. They play on Sunday next week. They have a bye week, and their game is on the 1st of December. So they got a lot of time to kind of get right. But when it comes to time, all right, you have 6 losses already. The teams that you're going up against, a team like the Chargers, they only have 3 losses. So you've used up a lot of your strikes, so to speak. You got to play nearly flawless football down the stretch for you to get back into this thing if you're the Bengals. You have to at least, in my opinion, win 9 games if you were trying to make the postseason. I don't think that 8-9 is going to get you into the playoffs in the AFC. All right, if you think that the Bengals are going to go 9-8, you're telling me you think they're going to play 5-2 football down the stretch. That's what you think. You think they're going to play 5-2 football down the stretch. And the Bengals just haven't played consistently enough to me where I think you can look at their schedule and find games like on the road against the Chargers. They play Pittsburgh a couple of times. They play Denver. They go on the road and play a couple of these other teams that can maybe be a little bit competitive. They just haven't played well enough that I think you can eyeball their schedule and have them playing 60%, 65% winning football down the stretch. They haven't shown to be that kind of team. So I will continue to fade the Bengals until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I think when you just look at the Bengals, I think a lot of people are saying, hey, look, Joe Burrow's having a great year. Jamar Chase is having an explosive year. And I think that's hiding to a lot of fans just how bad that defense is. It is an awful defense. It's a lot like Baltimore, right? Where people are talking about, Baltimore's one of the top teams in the AFC because of their offense, because of Lamar and their run game. And it's just hiding the fact that Baltimore's defense is really bad. The difference is that Baltimore has found ways to win games, and the Bengals, on the other hand, have found ways to lose games. How many one-score games have we seen the Bengals go in and lose? Well, they found a way to lose in Kansas City. They found a way to lose last night. So even though they are playing, these quote-unquote close games, and they're playing these competitive games, they have found ways to lose games, and that's what bad teams do. That's why the Bengals are a bad team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and I understand they've played one more game than some of these other teams in the league. There is only one team in the National Football League that has given up more points than the Bengals. It's Carolina. One team. Now, sure, maybe that will change over the course of it, but, I mean, a team like New Orleans, for example, a team that's not good, New Orleans would have to give up 40 points this week to give up more points than what Cincinnati has given up so far this season. I just don't think if you're going to be a bottom 5 defense in the league, I just don't know if you're turning things around if you've already built yourself such a deficit. Like, we can have this conversation about the Ravens because the Ravens, their defense is also pretty bad too. Now, their quarterback has been fantastic and they've won a lot of these close games, but are you winning the Super Bowl if you're 29th in pass defense the way that they are? Like, that's where Baltimore is right now. Baltimore is 30th in points given up, and they are they are 32nd in yards given up via the pass. I just don't know if you're winning the Super Bowl with that formula. So what I saw yesterday was two fun teams. Burrow got going yesterday. Jamar Chase got going yesterday. Lamar's running around the field and doing Lamar Jackson things, and they are incredibly fun. But if I'm talking to a fan base that kind of knows what you got to be able to do in the postseason and what the formula is to advance and win those games, you think that Baltimore or Cincinnati has that kind of formula? At some point, you got to be able to get off the field. And what the Ravens are trying to do is what the 2017-18 Kansas City Chiefs tried to do. What the Bengals are trying to do is they're trying to do that version of the Chiefs without having Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. That is not a winning strategy for you. That might be a winning strategy for Patrick Mahomes. And eventually, what happened to that Chiefs team? They bumped their head against a team that had all the makeup of things that they didn't have. They ran into the Patriots that can run the football. They can play good defense. They can get off the field. They can get stops. That can slow you down a little bit. I came away from that. I've already felt this way about the Bengals. I came out of this more and more of, man, we're past the halfway point, and we have seen 10 Baltimore Ravens games. You have a bottom 5 defense in the league. Are you going to be able to beat Buffalo and Kansas City potentially in back-to-back weeks if you can't get off the field against either one of those teams' quarterbacks? You are playing a very dangerous game if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and if you're talking about moving forward to the playoffs, we talk a lot about how poor Lamar Jackson has played in the playoffs, and then you want to take that history and then try and play with a bad defense in Baltimore. Now, maybe, you get the number 2 spot and you get a pretty pushover, easy team, that makes the 7th wild card seed, pick whatever team that might end up there. So, yeah, maybe Baltimore wins one playoff game. But as soon as they have to face somebody who has competent defense and a competent offense, I think Baltimore is going to get pushed out of the playoffs. And it's the same thing with the Bengals. Every time we see them play a competent defense or a competent offense, it just seems like everything falls apart for them. And it's why they're a bad team.
Coming up on the other side, I'm going to say something positive about Kansas basketball. I can't tell you how long that's going to be. It could be for 30 seconds. It might be for 5 minutes. Who knows? But I promise you that coming up on the other side, I will give KU one of the greatest compliments that I can give any team that we follow. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof, too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find Pinot Noirs and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. You can enter to win a chance to be on the field for the March to the three-peat. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
The holidays are a magical time to get engaged. At Shane Company, we're here to help you create your dream engagement ring in just 3 easy steps. Choose a setting that speaks to your style. Compare diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. Then personalize it with a decorative crown and special engraving. Or choose a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, you'll find everyday competitive prices, a no-pressure environment, and an unmatched free lifetime warranty. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellman's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellman's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowes.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle. Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
Pizza Taccio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, has taken KC by storm. Pizza Taccio uses the highest quality local and organic ingredients, hand-tossed by KC natives. Oh, and did I mention they were voted KC's favorite pizza? Place your order now for pickup or delivery at pizzataccio.com. Or stop in for a slice at any of their locations in OP, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, or Belton, and dive into the taste that's conquering Kansas City. One slice at a time.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe, Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Seeing some early slowdowns eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange. Some brake lights around the southern lanes of the downtown loop and southbound 71 between East Meyer and East Gregory. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Rashee Rice. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Sometimes I realize that maybe I've been doing this job for too long when I work with people like Quentin. Quentin is, how old are you, Quentin? 23?
25.
25. I was right. I mean, the first time. And I might have to put a clause in my contract the next time I got to re-up. If you don't remember when the Game Boy was in black and white.
Well,
and then it just one day it magically was in color and you saw that Pikachu was yellow, changed your life. If you don't remember that, I don't know if you can be on this show.
Hold on. You're throwing shade in the wrong direction.
You don't remember those days. You don't remember where you had the old Game Boy.
Yeah, and you had to get the light.
And it came with
no
Tetris.
Backlight.
And then magically, they started putting the Game Boy in all these fluorescent colors, and the Game Boy was in color. If you don't remember that, I don't know if you can work on this show. That's what this show is based on. If you didn't come home from school to watch TRL, this isn't the show for you to be working on.
I had the Game Boy, and then you
had the Game Boy DS. That was your first one.
No, I did not. You're throwing shade in the wrong direction here, C-Dot. You gotta wait a couple more years before a producer gets on here and didn't grow up. And their first Nintendo experience was the 3DS.
No,
okay?
your first Nintendo was the Wii. That's how you know you don't need to be on the show.
Out here playing Wii bowling for the first
that's
time.
what it was. That was your first game. Wii bowling. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I try to avoid doing this. I want to give Kansas basketball a lot of credit. And again, you can time me. I don't think this is going to be very long. In fact, I don't really want it to be very long, but they're playing North Carolina today in basketball. So I try to be fair, balanced, and objective. That's what this show is about. Fair and balanced coverage is what we provide. By far and away, the most impressive thing about KU is if you are someone like Quentin's age, you have never seen them be bad. If you are under the age of 40 years old, you cannot point to a season in which KU has been bad. And bad by everybody's standard of bad, not just KU's version. North Carolina is incredible. They're incredible, right? They might be the top #1 program in college basketball over the last 100 years. In 2019, they went 14-19 and missed the NCAA tournament. In 2009, they outright missed the NCAA tournament. They've gone to the NIT in our lifetime. In 2001, North Carolina went 8-20. That ain't never happened at Lawrence. I can't think of a single other team in American sports, maybe Ohio State football, that has been good our entire life. Everybody goes through a cycle. The Patriots have gone through a cycle. The Chiefs went through a cycle. You get a run, right? You get a 5-year stretch, a 10-year stretch. Maybe it's like the Patriots and you get a 20-year stretch, but eventually your run ends and then another team picks it up and runs with it. Every other program, every other team, every other entity that we can think of in American sports, they've had a down period. Not KU. Never. Not once. So as we have these conversations about a blue blood, and Duke is incredible, North Carolina is incredible, UConn, they've been fantastic. What separates KU from all of these other programs that we discuss is they don't have a bad year ever. And their bad year is them winning 24 games and being a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. So wait, you're telling me they're one of the top 16 teams in the country? That's bad? No, bad is what the rest of us have to experience. Bad is missing the tournament. Bad is Missouri hasn't won a basketball game at any point in 2024. K-State has seen some bad years. K-State hated their coach for the last 2 years of his time, and they won the Big 12 with that coach. The rest of us know what it's like to have our teams be down. You have no understanding of it if you cheer for KU basketball. So today, as we are celebrating greatness in college basketball, KU been great. North Carolina's been great. The greatness in Lawrence is just drastically different than the greatness everywhere else.
You know, I can't, even when you tossed this topic to us to go behind the screen a little bit, you were like, no team in American sports has been bad. I even tried to go baseball and think, oh, is there might be a baseball team with how much money, but it's like the Dodgers have had down times, right? So I think that even across all professional sports, that there isn't a team that has been able to beat the ebbs and flows that comes with this. Maybe there's a hockey team that I just don't know about. I don't know about hockey, but I'm going to go ahead and say that there has been no professional sports that have gone through anything like, what KU has gone through. And luckily for all of us people, their football team has been bad enough that we can laugh at them for that, and then we just don't pay attention to them in March.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and someone makes a good comparison. I mean, the only comparison that I think we have is UConn women. That's the only thing that's anywhere close to KU. Like, that's the only thing that's close. Quentin, they've made the NCAA tournament every year you've been alive. Kentucky can't say that. Duke can't say that. North Carolina. None of these other programs can say that they have made the tournament every single year for 25 seasons the way that Kansas can. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible what they have been able to accomplish over the course of the last 50 years or so. So today, again, I think today is about celebrating excellence in college basketball. And I really do think it's cool that these two teams have decided to play each other and play each other in this fashion. Like, they have decided to play each other in this way. The last time that KU won less than 20 games, Quentin, the last time they won less than 20 games was in 1988. Think about that. That's the last time they won less than 20 games. Even then, they went 19-12. I just told you guys, North Carolina went 8-20 in the last 20 years. It's different. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what kind of sorcery they got going on in Lawrence, but I'm telling you, their down years, it's not really a down year. You're just not the best team in the conference. Their down years are drastically different than everybody else in the National Football League. In college basketball, I do want to ask you this question about the Chiefs and kind of get where you are. So last week, I told you guys I was completely staying away from the spread. I thought that Tampa Bay was the right side to be on because the number had gotten so big and the Chiefs don't really run away from opponents. So we had Mark Schlereth on the show yesterday, and this is what he said about the Chiefs.
And I think the biggest thing for me when I watch Kansas City Chiefs, and this is not just Patrick Mahomes. This is Mahomes, this is the offense, this is the defense, special teams. Whenever they have to make a critical play, somebody on that roster makes a critical play, whether it's defense or offense or special teams. And that's the thing that I just have so much respect for the way they play the game is in critical moments, Patrick Mahomes makes a critical play. And you saw it in the overtime against Tampa the other night. It's like they lose the coin toss and Baker Mayfield just closes his eyes and throws his head back because he knows it's over. Like, oh, shoot, we just gave Patrick Mahomes the ball. See you later. We lost the game. Why didn't we go for two? I mean, you could see it on his face. And I just respect how great, as much as I hate it, and I hate giving you guys this, satisfaction, I love watching the guy play, and they're just really, really good, and they're fun to watch, and they're good at every level. So it's not just one side of the ball.
Has there only been one game this season that it has been outside of a one-score game in the fourth quarter? I'm trying to go back and I'm trying to think about how they beat the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the Saints, that game was just never really close, never really competitive. The Chiefs really dominated New Orleans in a lot of fashions. The one thing that I think you kind of wish for with Kansas City, and it's kind of weird to say for a team that is clearly the best team in the National Football League, is you wish they kind of had the ability to kind of run away from somebody. And I at least have been trying to think about why I feel the way I feel about this game. Admittedly, this game has me a little bit nervous. I think the Broncos are a little bit better than people think. I think their defense is pretty competitive, and I think they do some things that kind of pose some trouble for some of the better teams in the league. I would feel a lot better if I felt the Chiefs had an ability to blow Denver out in this game, where, say what you want about Baltimore is able to put it on you. Buffalo, in certain situations, can really run it up on you. Detroit is a team that can really just hammer you in these matchups. I don't really trust Kansas City to kind of run away in this game, and that's why the spread, I understand why they put the line where they put them, but, I mean, this game opened up at the Chiefs as a 9-point favorite. The Chiefs don't beat teams by more than 10 points. So that just always felt a little bit off. The number has come down a little bit over the course of the last couple of days. You can get it at 7.5. You can get it at 7, depending on where you get your number. That feels about right to me with where the Chiefs should be favored in this game. But Quentin, like, as I think about it, what scares me most about this game is you just know it's going to be close in the final 20 minutes, the final 15 minutes of this game heading into the fourth quarter. And are you going to continue to be able to make the 1 or 2 more plays every single week than your opposition, where I would like one of the games where just the Chiefs go out there and, hey, they get up 21-3 in the first half. The offense is just flowing. Their defense is an obvious passing down, so they're getting after the quarterback. And it isn't a fourth quarter that you really have to worry about because the Chiefs played a real complete game. I don't know if we know what that looks like for the Chiefs at this point. Now, some of that is just due to the injuries. They haven't had a full complement of roster, so how can you play a complete game if you don't have your complete team? But what does that game look like for Kansas City where we can come away and say the Chiefs played their best? I'm not sure if we've seen that yet this season.
I don't think we've seen that either. And luckily for Kansas City, the Denver Broncos only have one good win this year. And it was when they beat Tampa Bay 26-7 early in the year before all the injuries happened to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But other than that, if you look at, good teams in the NFL, they've either been blown out by them or they haven't been very close. Obviously, last week, the 41-10 loss against Baltimore. Baltimore was able to get pressure on Bo Nix, and he was able to force him, to make bad decisions and get rid of the ball quickly. And then even some of the mid-tier teams they faced, they beat Seattle, or they lost to Seattle 26-20. So you have a good team facing a mediocre team, and they were able to keep it close. But a full game by Kansas City, you're right, we haven't seen that, and I don't know how you convince yourself that you're going to be able to see it. I think that the Chiefs, in order to shut this Broncos offense down, I think they just need to blitz again, because Bo Nix just overthrows a lot of passes, and I think it's why their offense has been limited, because if you look at what the Broncos do, they throw the ball a bit, but those completions aren't coming, and it's why his completion percentage to those short yards seems to be his best, right? Sean Payton and Drew Brees, right? Remember towards the end of Sean Payton's and Drew Brees era, it was just a lot of checkdowns, and so we're seeing that from the Broncos. I don't think that Kansas City has to be super effective on offense in order to win this game, because I think the defense is going to carry the torch for this game, and it comes down to Bo Nix.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Bo Nix has been pretty limited. I'm really big on a couple of different stats in evaluating quarterback play. Yards per attempt is really big for me. Really shows how you're pushing the ball down the field and how efficient you are in the pass game. Bo Nix is at 6.0 yards per attempt. So a lot of those checkdowns that you just mentioned, he's also completing 62% of his passes. So he's been fine, but he's also been a rookie young quarterback. What does that young quarterback look like up against an elite defense, one that really shows you a lot of different looks, can get after the quarterback, and has one of the better secondaries in the National Football League? I think one of the keys to the Chiefs in this game, at least from the defensive side, is going to be, do you force Bo Nix to really play from the pocket and be a pocket passer? That's just not who he is. He's been one of the more effective running quarterbacks in the league. He's actually 6th in the NFL in rushing yards this year. He has 300 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. He's very much in the middle of everything that they do in terms of their run game, and him kind of getting going kind of gets the rest of their team going. He's averaging almost 35 yards a game when talking about running the football. So is this defense going to be able to keep Bo Nix in the pocket, make him throw it 30, 35 times? Because if that's the case, to what you just said, he probably gives you 1 or 2 possessions just off of turnovers, just off a mistake, just off of overusage, and that's where you can really take advantage of a young, inexperienced QB.
Yeah, and we know that Steve Spagnuolo loves those really complicated blitzes, right? I have a feeling we're going to see some defensive edge guys drop back into coverage. I think Felix Anudike-Uzomah is going to drop back into coverage, and we're all going to put our hands on our head and be like, what are you doing? And then you're going to get a cornerback blitz, and Bo Nix is going to get sacked. I imagine we're going to see quite a bit of that. I think that really the biggest matchup, and I think is an underrated matchup, is the Broncos defense is actually really good against the run. They have the 8th best rush defense in terms of yards per carry in the NFL. They're only giving up 4 yards per carry all season, and they faced some pretty good run defenses or running teams. So, my question is Kansas City able to keep this run offense going against a team that has been shown consistently to be able to stop running backs here? Because if you're able to run the ball against this team, then I don't know what the Broncos can do on the defensive side to slow you down.
Yeah, I think you got to give the Broncos defense a little bit of credit. They've only allowed 2 teams to score more than 21 points this year. Seattle scored 26 points against them early on in the season, and Baltimore last week, they scored 41 points against them. We've talked about it this week. This is a really important and telling stretch for the Broncos. If you got questions about Denver coming into this, I don't think anyone would fault you. Their first win was on the road against Tampa Bay when Tampa Bay was fully healthy. A little bit of a surprise. Since then, their last 4 wins have been the Jets, Raiders, Saints, and the Panthers. So certainly not a murderer's row and a who's who. They played a good team in Baltimore. They got ran off the field. They go on the road to play Kansas City, the best team in the league. And they go on the road to play the Atlanta Falcons, who could be the second best team in the NFC, certainly in the conversation after the Lions on who the next best team in the NFC is. So this is a very telling stretch. This is not the Saints or the Panthers or the weak NFC South, at least at the bottom half of it. You're playing the favorite in the AFC and one of the favorites in the NFC, and you've already been blown out. So in a lot of ways for Denver, this is a really telling matchup. The same way we talk about the Chiefs and it being a trap game in the sense that you played on Monday Night Football, you play Buffalo next week, and this game is sandwiched in the middle. This is coming off a game in which you guys got embarrassed. If you're a playoff team, do you get back on track? Do you play really competitive against Kansas City and kind of play with a little bit of pride? But they got embarrassed last week against the Ravens. That game was never close in the last 30 minutes or so.
No, and it was because, Derrick Henry had over 100 yards. Lamar Jackson, he did a lot what we saw last night against the Bengals where, they were able to put pressure on him, but they were never able to get him down. So he was able to do some crazy stuff and able to get yards, do Lamar Jackson-esque stuff. But you're right about this Broncos defense, right? They've been able to play close in some of these games. They're third in the NFL in points per game at 17.9 points. So, Kansas City, I don't think they're going to have to score a lot. I really think that the big matchup is going to be whether or not Kansas City can run the ball. I know Kareem Hunt was limited earlier in the week on the injury report. I do expect him to play, but is he going to be able to hold through another really physical game? Are you going to have to get him 20 carries again in order for you to keep the chains moving? Or because of DeAndre Hopkins, do we see a shift in the way the Chiefs offense runs and they say, hey, look, this is a good rush defense. Let's start to pass it a little more and get DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce more involved in the passing game early on.
Coming up in a little bit, we're going to play a game. I'll let you guys know what the game's going to be in a little bit. I'll give a call, and then we can give you guys a chance to win a pizza. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit of college football here before we open up the phone lines. There's 3 lines that just don't really make a lot of sense to me this week in college football that involve teams that are very much in the playoff mix. The first one is here in Kansas City. Iowa State, they are a 2.5-point favorite against Kansas. Iowa State is 7-1. They lost in the last 30 seconds last week, and KU has been one of the more disappointing teams in the country. You would think that Iowa State would be a 6.5-point, maybe a 7.5-point favorite. Vegas is telling you that this is kind of a coin flip. Just based on the spread, they're telling you that they think this is a 55-45 kind of game, not in terms of score, but just percentage of winning. A little bit surprising in this matchup, like everything is telling me. No, Iowa State takes control of this game, and even if KU is in it, what we've seen KU do over the course of the season is they just find a way to lose close ball games. So I'm a little bit surprised that the spread is that close on that. Army is a 3-point favorite on the road against North Texas. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that game, but Army very much is still in the college football playoff conversation. So one group of 5 team has to make it. So one of the other schools has to make it. So that's right now, if you look at the college football rankings, why Boise State is in there. I don't think Boise State's one of the 12 best teams in college football, but it has to be room for one of those teams. Army plays Notre Dame coming up in a couple of weeks. If Army is undefeated with the win against Notre Dame at home, Army absolutely should be included in the college football playoff, but they're only a 3-point favorite on the road against North Texas. A little bit surprising to me. And the last one, and maybe this is because this is a rivalry game, BYU is a 3-point favorite on the road against Utah. Utah has had quarterback issues, but Utah's at home at night in a rivalry game, so maybe that's where the spike gets a little bit dicey. I mean, college football history would tell you that one of these three teams is going to lose because that's just how this works. Now, Iowa State, they're not in a traditional road game, but it's kind of a road game. You got Army on the road and BYU on the road. I know we have the big dog games in the SEC that are going to determine who makes the playoff and who doesn't make the playoffs, but those are three other games between Iowa State, Army, and BYU that they're not the marquee, sexy matchup, but they absolutely decide who is going to the college football playoff. Iowa State is still very much in this thing. They have to win out. Whoever wins that game between K-State and Iowa State, that is probably the team that's going to end up going to Arlington for the Big 12 championship game. Army, they still got an opportunity to go undefeated. They still got a shot at the playoff. And obviously BYU, they're undefeated. They're going on the road to play their rival who they have already kind of ruined and crashed and burned their season. They want nothing more than to do the exact same thing at home against the Cougars. All right, we need one caller, 913-586-7965. We are going to give exactly one of you, a chance to win a pizza. I'll tell you the rules of the game next. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Finding an attorney can be an overwhelming process. Fortunately, since 1996, Mark Ferguson has helped thousands of Kansas Cityans during their time of need. Whether you're facing a traffic violation or a more serious crime, Mark and his team of seasoned, compassionate professionals are here to fight for you in all of your legal matters. Mark has built his career on integrity, knowledge, and an incredible reputation. Call Mark Ferguson at 816-203-2263. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts is proud to offer a 10% military discount on many items. Get details at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
O'Reilly Auto Parts is proud to offer a 10% military discount on many items. Get details at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Seeing some slowdowns in Grandview, southbound 49 highway. They started about East 135th Street and finally ease up after you cross East 163rd. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Quentin, before we play this game, we're going to play it here momentarily. During the commercial break, I was just scrolling on Instagram for a little bit, and Shannon Sharp was on his podcast, and they were asking, how much do you usually spend on a date? And Shannon Sharp said $300. And it just let me know that some people just live very different kind of lives. That's the average. Have you ever spent $300 on any date?
No.
On any date.
I've never been to a restaurant and spent $300 on myself.
Yeah, like that's the average. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on here, but hey, different strokes for different folks. All right, so coming up in about 15 minutes, Nate Taylor's going to join us in studio. We're going to talk all the foosball. We'll talk about the Chiefs. We'll talk about D-Hop. We'll talk about the Bengals. We'll talk about the Ravens. Talk about all the football things. But before we do that, let's play a game that we haven't played yet this season. This is a very simple game. We are going to play from Manning to Bo Nix. So I've written down every quarterback who has started for the Broncos since Peyton Manning's last start and leading up to Bo Nix's start. All you have to do is name as many of those quarterbacks in 30 seconds. George, we're going to play with you here momentarily. You are going up against Drew. Very simple. If you name as many or more quarterbacks as Drew, I give you a pizza. If not, I hang up on you and we give your pizza to somebody on the text line. George, do you understand the rules to the game?
I understand the rules. I'm hungry for a pizza, but I think I'm going to go away hungry on these questions.
All right, George, you know what? Let's have a little bit of confidence here, George. Let's give me some confidence here. All right, I'm going to have Quentin play some music here. So from Peyton Manning's last start up until Bo Nix, I want you to name as many Broncos quarterbacks that have started for them during that time frame. Quentin, on your mark, get set, go. George, go ahead, man.
I'm trying to go. I got a blank running.
You know what, George? Let me put you on hold here. You know what, George? Turn the music off. Let's give George a pizza because George was a trooper. I at least want somebody to play. George wasn't getting one. George wasn't getting one. So you know what? I'm going to be nice here. Let's give George the pizza anyway. He sounded like an older listener. That's not me stereotyping. He just sounded like an older listener. Let's give George the pizza anyway. Take his information, give him a large 2-topping pizza on me, take it for my personal stash. All right, Trenton, I'm not letting you off the hook here, Trenton. Are you ready to play? Trenton, you there? Trenton's not there. We're not playing the game with anybody. Quinn, this is your fault. No, I'm blaming you for this, Quentin. I gotta. There's only one person I can blame for this. I have to blame you.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I have to blame you for this. I wanted to play the game. Are we gonna play the game today? George was not. He was not prepared. He wasn't gonna play the game. You know, we'll wait. We'll just play later. How about that? We'll play later today. We'll play later. I don't want to play right now. Phone lines blowing up. Where were you a while ago? George was the only one man enough to step up and play. Someone on the text line did say, shout out to Red Lobster. You would never spend $300 there. It's exactly why I love Red Lobster. There's no other place that I can think of in which you could get a 5-star Michelin star dinner at the price that you can like Red Lobster. You're getting some of the best cuts of meat, some of the best lobster and crab that America, maybe the world, has to offer, and you're getting the legendary Cheddar Bay biscuits, and they're going to get you out of there for less than $100, less than $125? That's why there will never be any Red Lobster disrespect, not on this show. Maybe on the text line, you guys disrespect Red Lobster. You will never, ever get any. You will never get any level of disrespect to Red Lobster. Not for me. Not on this show. No, not at all. I will never, ever be a part of that. I have one more positive KU thought, and I promise you guys that this is the last positive KU thought that I'm going to have for the rest of the week. After this, I will not have a single positive KU basketball thought after this one. We talk a lot about in sports, maybe in life in general, how hard it is to be the guy that replaces the guy. I think about it, Alabama. You got to replace Nick Saban, and they're having a little bit of struggles, but struggles is relative to just who Alabama is. This is a pretty common thing. You got to be the coach that replaces Bill Belichick. This is going to happen in Kansas City whenever Andy Reid is done being the head coach and somebody has to take over. Inevitably, you are compared to that individual. It's tough. It's crazy that KU replaced Roy Williams, who is one of the 10 best college basketball coaches of his generation. And now I might even be generous. He might be one of the 5 best college basketball coaches of his generation. They replaced Roy Williams, and they got better. There's no scenario that happens. K-State is a fantastic program. Chris Kleiman is an amazing head coach. You didn't get better after replacing Bill Snyder. You haven't been better. You've been still really good. You were not better than you were with Bill Snyder. Nebraska, they've had good coaches since then, I guess, kinda. You have not been better since replacing Tom Osborne. The fact that KU had Roy Williams for 15 years, replaced Roy Williams with Bill Self, and Bill Self has undeniably been better than Roy Williams is crazy. And again, one of those things that can only happen at Kansas. There's no other place that that's happened. It didn't happen in North Carolina when they lost their coach. It is not happening currently at Duke with John Shire. It's not happening at Villanova or at Michigan State or any of these other kind of places. The fact that it happened at Kansas, that they replaced a Hall of Fame coach and got an even better Hall of Fame coach, it's reason 127 on why I don't like them. Just everything always works out for them. You know what? I feel the way about Kansas that all these other teams feel about Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm sure you've heard it before. All the arguments that Bengals fans make about Patrick Mahomes, you guys kind of laugh at, that's how I feel about Kansas. We know the officials cheat for them when they're in that building. How do they win all the time? You know you get sick of watching them win every time. And sometimes you'll watch, like, man, that's it. They're down 8.5 to Texas. Oh, this is it. This is it. No, it's not it. It's never it. Even the years you think they're going to be down, they still figure it out. And then they have that one game every year in which they wheel out all their accomplishments, and it's just all this crystal, and it's the worst. That's how I feel about Kansas. That's the best way I can explain it. I'm a Bills fan. I'm a Bengals fan. That's who I am. I'm a Ravens fan. I love it. It's great. That's who I am. I cheer for the Ravens. And Bill Self, he's my Patrick Mahomes. They're my Chiefs. I'm tired of seeing them win. And I know a lot of you out there, you feel the same way. So we got to start being kinder to our other NFL brothers when they're going through the exact same thing. You get a respite from it because you cheer for the Chiefs. Imagine if you were on the other side. Empathy is one of the greatest qualities you can have as a human being. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by Nate Taylor, who also knows what I'm talking about because he is a Missouri fan. Nate Taylor's going to come up here. We'll get his thoughts on. There's a lot of stuff. Is this a trap game against the Denver Broncos? We'll get his thoughts on the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll also get his thoughts on the Ravens pass defense, which is absolutely porous. I mean, they have a leaky pass defense. We'll get his thoughts on the Chiefs and what we saw from DeAndre Hopkins on Monday Night Football. Nate Taylor up next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Seeing some slowdowns in Grandview, southbound 49 highway. They started about East 135th Street and finally ease up after you cross East 163rd. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe, Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom and ready to do the same for you.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, Chiefs fans, this season it's time to share your gratitude. We want to hear from you about the Chiefs player you're thankful for. Call in and tell us your favorite Chiefs player and why they mean so much to you. Not only will you get to shout out your favorite player, but you'll also qualify to win $500 in Hy-Vee gift cards. That's right, $500 to spend on your favorite groceries, game day snacks, and more. Only at Hy-Vee. So, who's the Chief you're thankful for? Dial in now and share your story.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. He's been in the locker room since 2018 and has seen the Chiefs make the AFC title game every year. Coincidence? Who knows? But no one is more plugged into your Chiefs than Nate Taylor of The Athletic.
I know the Chiefs are probably calling teams to be like, hey, 6th-round pick, and I don't know if anybody's going to bite on that sort of trade offer.
And he joins CDOT every Friday at 4, right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. We are waiting for Nate Taylor to step in studio. Until then, let's talk about the standings currently in the NFL playoff picture as we are halfway done with the NFL season. As you guys know, the Chiefs are the 1 seed in the AFC. They're the only undefeated team. They have at least a 2-game lead on every team in the AFC. They can really create some distance between themselves and the Buffalo Bills if they win next week. I mean, if the Chiefs win next week, they will be 4 games up on Buffalo, and they will be 4 games up also on Baltimore. So 2 of your biggest contenders, you would feel like you have already eliminated them in a lot of ways, and you also play Pittsburgh later on in the season. So all of the divisional teams all play each other this year, so the tiebreakers are going to be really important to this team. The reason I think it's interesting, at least going through the standings, are the wild card teams. So whoever finishes second in the AFC North is going to end up making the playoffs. You also have the Los Angeles Chargers. They're 5-3 right now, and then you got the Denver Broncos at 5-4. Now, looking at the Denver Broncos, the Broncos to me are pretty interesting for a couple of different reasons. They went on the road and they beat Tampa Bay earlier this year, and that kind of put them at least on my radar. Just, maybe the Broncos are actually a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. And defensively, they've been pretty solid so far this year. Like, if you were looking at points given up so far this year, the only 2 teams in the AFC that have given up fewer points than the Broncos have been, I guess it's 3 teams, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Chiefs. So we're talking about a defense that has proven itself to be pretty capable this season. And I am curious, whenever Nate comes in here, what kind of challenges defensively they could pose for the Kansas City Chiefs and just kind of slowing this game down and muddying it up. I think you would agree, Quentin, this is not a game in which I think that Denver is going to be able to play a high-scoring game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think if Denver's only pathway to winning this game is trying to win this game 20-17, force Kansas City into a couple of turnovers, and win one of those low-scoring games. I don't really think the Broncos can outscore Kansas City, but their defense is competitive enough that maybe they could muddy this game enough where it's a low-scoring game.
Yeah, and they're going to have to, try and do all the stereotypes that you hear from head coaches. Oh, we're going to need to steal an extra possession. We're going to need to run the ball. All of those sort of coach speak things the Broncos are going to have to look to do. And I think you're right to bring up, what the Broncos defense has been. They haven't played a lot of really good teams, but once you make it to this point into the season, if you're still able to be top 5 in any sort of statistical category, it's a good thing, because we talk about consistently how, close the NFL is from the best team to the worst team. And if you're a defense and you're top 3, in points allowed per game, that's an impressive stat to have up to this point, no matter who you're facing.
So we welcome in Nate Taylor into the studio today. Nate, man, happy to have you here. Before we talk about the Broncos, I would say that there's kind of 3 big topics I'm looking at. We'll get to D-Hop in a little bit from what we saw from him on Monday Night Football. We'll talk if you think this is a trap game. But let's start with this. What do you think Xavier Worthy's role is on this team? How do you think his role is going to potentially grow in the second half? Because I would say, even though we, still got a lot time to go, I think we know who everybody's role is on the offense. I know what Noah Gray is. I know what Kelsey is. D-Hop hasn't been here very long, but I know what DeAndre Hopkins is, Kareem Hunt. The only player right now that their role just seems a little bit kind of up in the air, it feels like it's Xavier Worthy. Now, last year, we saw Rashee Rice have an incredible second half of the season and really come into his own. I think a lot of people are expecting that same thing to happen with Xavier Worthy.
Yes.
So what have you seen from him so far in his first handful of games in the league? How do you think his role grows as the season progresses?
It's a fascinating question, because I want to remind people that when the draft happened, right? When the draft occurs, you already have Travis Kelsey, you already have Rashee Rice. Those are your short to intermediate options, with Rashee running from the slant position, with some, from the slot, I should say. And then, of course, you have Hollywood Brown and now Xavier Worthy on the outside. And the purpose was to have a lot of RPO, play action, deep shots, and you could do what they did against Baltimore with Xavier Worthy, which is the end around, jet sweep, bubble screen, some form of gadgets. Obviously, he had the touchdown against the Saints where Travis Kelsey's the, pistol quarterback. And obviously there's an RPO action between Travis Kelsey and Xavier Worthy, and that's how he scores the touchdown. Since everything's been blown up on paper, now we are living in reality, he is specifically just a deep threat. I think that is his role. I know the text line is suggesting that, yes, McCole is better than Worthy. That is true right now. If you're asking them to do all the things in the offense from a playbook standpoint, McCole Hardman is a better option on screens, jet sweeps, the occasional short yardage situation, even his third down catch after coming back from the injury on Monday night. So I think now the offense should be pretty simple for Xavier Worthy, which actually could be helpful because he is a rookie. Hey, man, you're running 9s, 8s, 7s. And if one of them pops open, that's great because it forces the defense to honor it, and it helps DeAndre Hopkins get open. It helps give Travis Kelsey more room. But we need to hit these balls over the top. That's why that incompletion in the first quarter against Tampa Bay is kind of critical for that entire half, because you never got another shot like that for the rest of the half. So, hey, if you adjust well to your routes, if you're open deep and Pat throws it on the money, you got to catch it. You got to be in bounds. You got to make the defense pay. But I don't see his role really expanding. I actually see it more like staying in your lane and very narrowly run 9s, run corners, run post, and be happy with you being in a functional offense where you're not asked to be what Rashee Rice was last year, which is basically by the time we got to January, hey, dog, can you be a number one receiver? Because we have literally nobody else who can give us yards after the catch. That is not the situation that Xavier Worthy is in, and that's okay because you got him on a first-round pick. He's going to be on the roster for for 5 years based on the fifth-year option, and if you just hit it a couple times deep, you will be more than worth the first-round pick for this version of the offense.
I don't want to say that his football IQ is low. That seems like a harsh thing to say, but it does feel like he has very, very bad field awareness. Is that kind of what you were getting from him? Like, I remember some of the miscommunication issues that happened early on in the relationship between Mahomes and McCole Hardman. And a lot of people put that on McCole. Hey, you're not working enough. You don't have your head in the playbook.
Right.
It was obvious that it took him and Patrick to kind of get on the same page down the field. It feels like they're having a lot of the same issues with him. I just think a couple of the interceptions or times that Mahomes has thrown the ball away, it feels like Xavier Worthy is usually in the middle of that. I don't know if it's maybe just a lack of understanding in the playbook at this point, or to your point you just made about run 8s, run 9s, run 7s, his role was supposed to be really defined, and they had to expand it because they just don't have a whole lot of options here.
Yes.
So maybe as you get guys healthy and as he continues to grow in the playbook, they can kind of figure that out a little better.
No, that's a great point, because I have to remind myself sometimes, even when I'm in the locker room, Carrington, I have to remind myself that Rashee Rice is not here. Like, Marquise Brown is not here. Juju Smith-Schuster, nice to see you, not here anymore. So, I think from about week 3 to week 7, every game plan was different, which is putting a lot on a rookie receiver before DeAndre Hopkins shows up and again helps stabilize things. So it's fascinating to know that what he does from here through the rest of the regular season will kind of give you an answer on his field awareness, because he can adjust routes. He is a better route runner than I think people realize. It's why he was so open against the San Francisco 49ers, right? First play out of the second half, he makes the DB think he's running a corner, and he just nicely rounds it into a post. Unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes misses him. We all know what happens next. The interception happens because he loses his feet, and Mahomes trusts him in a one-on-one situation, and he kind of gets burned on it. I don't want to ever see you be near the sideline and be afraid of contact, because that's the NFL, and you forget where the boundary is. Like, you're a professional athlete. You make one mistake, okay. Don't make two. And one of the reasons why it was so tough for McCole Hardman, in particular during the 2020 Super Bowl, when they had no offensive line, when they still had a compromised Sammy Watkins, but he was out there, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill were going to be double covered. That was the game plan. They knew that going in, even if we don't have a good offensive line, which means, guess what? One-on-one opportunities deep down the field are going to be for you, McCole. And he could not sight adjust. He could not run his routes properly. He was not having his head around when the ball was arriving on time or when Patrick was pressured in the first half. And that's the reason they got behind. I know there's drops. I know the offensive line was obviously a chaotic mess during that Super Bowl, but they got behind in that game because they settled for field goals and not touchdowns, whereas Tom Brady was just marching the Buccaneers down the field. So I don't know if Xavier Worthy will go through a similar experience, but that is the nightmare in January, where it's a one-on-one, you're open deep, and you make a simple mistake instead of having an explosive play, which this offense desperately needs, because you're going to face better competition in January.
All right, coming up on the other side, there's a lot of stuff I want to get your opinion on. I want to get your opinion on Thursday Night Football between the Ravens and the Bengals, two teams that Kansas City knows very well. Let's talk about D-Hop, and they kind of lied to us a little bit. Oh, he's just figuring out his role. Then he got 9 targets and had 2 touchdowns on Monday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we'll also get your thoughts on the Broncos. This is the first game in a while I'm a little bit worried about going into. I'm curious how you feel about this game. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have a full tank of gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, Just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Pizza Taccio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, has taken KC by storm. Pizza Taccio uses the highest quality local and organic ingredients, hand-tossed by KC natives. Oh, and did I mention they were voted KC's favorite pizza? Place your order now for pickup or delivery at pizzataccio.com. Or stop in for a slice at any of their locations in OP, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, or Belton, and dive into the taste that's conquering Kansas City. One slice at a time.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement. But when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold. And for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Seeing some slowdowns in Grandview, southbound 49 highway. They started about East 135th Street and finally ease up after you cross East 163rd. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, we got Nate Taylor here from The Athletic. There's a lot I want to talk to you about. All right, let's talk about this Broncos game between the Chiefs and the Broncos Sunday at noon. Let me just start with this. Noon is my least favorite time that they play. Is that your least favorite time?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I think late afternoon is probably the best window. I think both for the players and the fans. Like, I've talked to Patrick about this before, and he loves playing at like that 3:25, maybe 4:30 if you're obviously on the East Coast kind of game. You know, noon coming off a Monday night game where you played in overtime, like, they might not be awake in the first quarter. And that's okay, because, like, these are human beings, and they've dominated the Broncos for over a decade. So who knows? Maybe the Broncos, punched them for a minute. Okay, let me wake up. All right, what's the game plan again? All right, let me prove that we're the better team. And then by halftime, it's kind of like, okay, like we know who the better team is. But yeah, I love noon home games, but I don't love noon road games because I just feel like you just miss so much. Like, there's so many games going on in the league at the same time, which is why late afternoon and then prime time is more preferable.
All right, so I guess where I've been kind of all week with this game is I'm a little bit worried about this game.
Okay.
Monday Night Football, Sunday next week against the Buffalo Bills, 2 massive games.
Mm-hmm.
Denver's defense is probably a little bit better than people think. So I'm just kind of thinking the Broncos have played the Chiefs kind of close over the last couple of years. Last year, the Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9 in a very, very weird kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
7 feels like a lot of points to me. This line opened up and it was Chiefs -9. If you got a chance to get the Broncos +9, just given how the Chiefs have played all of these games close, you got a blessing from the gambling guys. They usually don't give all of those out. I would feel a lot different about this game and maybe not be worried if I felt like Kansas City could win this game 31-10, that would change things. But usually the game script is Chiefs win a close game. And are you going to be able to do that for 17 straight weeks and win every single one-possession game that you find yourself in? So my biggest question about this game, it's not really so much about what I think Denver can do against Kansas City.
Yes.
Can you go into the fourth quarter up 21-10 with the football and create a little bit of separation and just make the fourth quarter easier for yourself than it's been in a majority of these games?
Please do. I mean, hey, wouldn't it be nice to see Carson Wentz get like a couple drives? Just to get the legs loose. We all know that's not happening. I don't think, I was talking to you about this off air, Karen. I don't think the Chiefs really care about blowing people out. It'd be nice if they won, but I don't think they are saying, man, we're gonna dominate this team. Even with the Raiders and the whole Muppet, I'm here.
That was a premium time to just pound another team in the league.
And they didn't do it. Yeah, they're just like, well, you just hand the ball off and just take 8-9 minutes off the clock. They might do that again on Sunday, right? It'd be mid-third quarter. They're up 7. All right, man, all we need is a field goal. How about a nice 9, 10, 12-play drive, 35-yard field goal from Harrison Butker. Hey, everybody shake hands. Okay, unless something crazy happens, we're not going to lose this game. I guess the only reason why Vegas would start it at 9 is to get the action. And maybe Bo Nix is just not good. Because I saw, we were off obviously on Sunday. Like, I saw him play the Baltimore Ravens. It wasn't pretty. And you were just telling me, is Baltimore's defense good? Not last night. So I don't know. It's still a trap game. But I do think the Chiefs can win by 2 possessions. It just might literally be at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are always the favorite in these matchups. I don't want to make it seem like there's a lot of things that I think Denver can kind of do.
Right.
I do wonder with Bo Nix, is he just kind of squirrely enough where he runs around a little bit, you play good enough defense? Like, there's only really one pathway for the Broncos to win this game. It's to kind of muddy this game up a little bit.
Yes.
You force Kansas City to turn the ball over 2 times. The weather doesn't cooperate. And you just figure out a way to grind out a 19-17 win against the Kansas City Chiefs and pull off one of the upsets of the year. That's really their only pathway to winning this game. And I mentioned it with the Chiefs and how I think this game worries me a little bit is the Chiefs also only really seem to have one pathway to playing this. This game will be unusually close in the third quarter. They will make 1 or 2 more plays left in the fourth quarter, and we'll all just say, man, they did it again. How do they do this?
How do they do it?
How do they do this every single week? Like that's really been their only pathway this year to a win. And can you continue to do that against teams like Denver? Like, I think Denver has a good chance of making the postseason. There's just not a lot of good teams in the AFC. So once you get outside those top 5 teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, you're basically looking at Indianapolis and Denver and the Chargers and how people are convincing themselves that Cincinnati is still in this thing. Like, 2 of those teams have to make the postseason.
Yes.
Are the Broncos a team that can go 10-7 and kind of firmly put themselves in the postseason?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before, but they could, again, if everybody stays healthy, they definitely have a path towards the postseason. Even if they lose on Sunday, they have another game against the Chargers, the Raiders, the Browns. I guess, will Joe Flacco still be the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts when they play the Denver Broncos on December 15th? I don't know. There's a possibility that like Joe Burrow isn't even playing in week 17 because the Bengals are out of it, right? And so there's a chance for them to make the postseason. Here's why I think it's a little bit more difficult for them to win. Their defense is good. They don't have a lot of name recognition. Obviously, we all know Pat Surtain, who's excellent, but they got nice red chip players, one blue chip player. Cortland Sutton gonna have to get busy on Sunday because is Troy Franklin scaring you? They don't have a great tight end, which is, tight ends have usually been one of the weaker things for the Chiefs to cover this season. They're gonna need turnover luck, or at least to win the turnover margin. Who knows? Andy Reid told us today that Patrick looked as normal as you could look on a, ankle sprain, basically, days removed from playing that game against, the Buccaneers. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't have his best game just because he's dealing with an injury for the first time for the full game this season. I just think Ben Powers is the left guard for the Denver Broncos. God bless him. Ben, there's going to be times where you got to block Chris Jones one-on-one. And we'll see who wins, but I know who I'm giving the advantage to.
Definitely ain't gonna be Ben Powers. I don't feel confident about his ability in that situation.
Yeah, so I just hey, maybe you can nickel and dime them and keep the game close. Maybe you can execute well in the red zone, get a couple turnovers. But Cortland Sutton is clearly their best skill position player, and to beat the Chiefs, I think you need more than just one really, really good guy who can catch the football and really stretch the defense one way or another. So, Bo Nix is not your average rookie. I know he's older than most guys. He's 24 years old. But at the same time, he ain't never been rushed by Chris Jones. George Karlaftis might have something for him. And I just can't imagine the amount of blitzes that Steve Spagnuolo has designed that Bo Nix either hasn't seen in film or might not anticipate, just because Steve Spagnuolo is a lunatic when it comes to the average defensive coordinator in the league.
You're the only person this week I've asked this question to because I think you can answer it from both sides. Is the only difference about Patrick Surtain and Trent McDuffie is that one has a dad that we saw play in the NFL, and the other one is Patrick Surtain has 10 interceptions in his career, where Trent McDuffie, it's crazy that he still does not Trent McDuffie might be the best corner in the league, and he does not have a career interception. Patrick Surtain has more touchdowns in his career than he has interceptions. Is that the only difference between them? And is that why McDuffie is not talked about like he's Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain II?
Okay, let's be fair. Trent McDuffie is the best rookie in that draft class. Sauce Gardner, as great as he is not as good as Trent McDuffie. When you look at it from what the Chiefs ask of him to do, The fact that I think Sauce is better in zone coverage, whereas McDuffie can do both zone and man. If you've noticed, teams have really isolated Sauce Gardner and actually cooked him this season. So look, there's things for Sauce Gardner to get better at. Pat Surtain is really good. And he's also a more prototypical cornerback. It obviously helps that we all saw his dad play really, really well. Just to remind the audience, Pat Surtain II is 6'2", 202. Perfect for today's NFL cornerback. Maybe 6'3", 6'4" if you want to get to like Richard Sherman level of, height. But from a skill set, being able to do everything, it's pretty awesome. I actually get more excited to watch Pat Surtain be across from Travis Kelce than I do Derwin James. There was that one game where Derwin James really shut down Travis Kelce early in his career, and Travis Kelce has never let that happen before. Where sometimes I do see it going back and forth between Pat Surtain and Travis Kelce. Hey man, hey Trent, I stuck my neck out for you, man. The Athletic this week asked all of us, all beat writers, give us 5 predictions for the second half of the season.
And I actually did this on Fox earlier today. This was one of them. Yeah, no, we did this.
And I put my neck out there for you, Trent. I said he will finally get an interception.
It doesn't make any sense that we're in his 3rd year as a starter and he doesn't have an interception.
And he's so
that
good.
That one undrafted guy, the Roland Watt, I'd never heard of the guy before. He already has an interception with this team. It doesn't make any sense how Trent doesn't have one. I know we're going to say nobody throws his direction. You're telling
me have to at some point.
He never comes off the field. He plays every defensive snap and he doesn't have a pick. You didn't get a tip ball and nothing. It's crazy that he doesn't have an interception.
And see now, we were in the press box in San Francisco. We said, what number is that? Say that number again. Everybody grabbing their little sheet, being like,
you're there every day. You didn't know who that guy was.
Hey, I don't even think Chris Roland Wallace knew who I was in the locker room after that game.
Yeah, you've never seen that man before. So we asked this question earlier, and I'm excited to get your thoughts on this. On a scale from 1 to 10. So 1 being you are worried beyond belief. 10 is the utmost confidence. Why are we even talking about this? Where are you at on the wide receiver room? Where are you at on the corner room as we are past the halfway point of the season?
Ooh, I love this. So 1 is we're good.
No, 10 is we're good. Okay. 1 is terrible.
For the receivers, I'll give it a 7 right now. Because, again, there's still the potential for Hollywood Brown to come back. Please stay healthy, DeAndre Hopkins, because I'm putting a 7 basically on that. And, look, I just think Xavier Worthy with more experience will get better. That's usually how it works for young rookies. Cornerback, I'm a 5. It could really go either way. Who knows? Maybe Joshua Williams.
What's up with Najee Johnson? Is it concussion?
He's gonna play, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he had the concussion.
They need him back.
They really do. And so, because if Joshua Williams doesn't improve, then it really is all on Najee Johnson. They didn't make a trade at the trade deadline. I know everybody understands that the Marshawn Lattimore deal was a little too much for their for the picks they had at the time and just the price point that they were at.
Did they have any interest in Trey White?
No. God, no.
I'm curious.
No.
Ravens got him?
No.
He really shored things up for them. he really gave them that lockdown presence.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to the failure. All right, but nah, man. He's in the twilight of his career, whereas Marshawn Lattimore very much going to help.
Crazy you say he's in the twilight of his career. He's in the same draft class as Patrick Mahomes. There, he's in the twilight of his career.
Hey, man, when it goes, man.
Quick.
It goes quick, dog.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's sad how fast these things move. But yeah, Trent McDuffie is one of their most durable players. As you said, he's on the field 24/7, 365. So he elevates it to a 5, but it really could go either way, depending on how everybody else does, or if Steve Spagnuolo is limited to where he's like, man, I can't really blitz because the coverage just ain't going to be as sticky, or man, if I throw too many zone coverages out, will there be miscommunications and will guys be wanting wide open free, which again is what some coaches do. Hey man, we just gonna run cover 3, cover 4. Hey, quarters. What's the covers, coach? Don't let anybody get behind you. Quarters. Just stay in front of somebody. So there's a reason why some teams keep it simple, especially when there is such an influx at a certain position. But, Spags likes to have every coverage available to him so that the quarterback and the receivers have to, they don't want to be as predictable. They want to be obviously the opposite. So Roland Wallace is capable, but, there's a reason why he wasn't drafted. Like, we're asking a lot out of this young man all of a sudden. Let's see how Najee Johnson does. I don't think the Chiefs will have Trent McDuffie shadow Cortland Sutton. But if things go a certain way in the first quarter, you might want to think about that. Because all Bo Nix has to do is say, is 2 matched up with Cortland Sutton? Oh, great. Is it 13 on Cortland Sutton? Great. It makes my reads a lot easier. So to see how the first half of the game goes will be fascinating, because I want to remind people, man, Tampa Bay had nobody. They had you and me out there running routes, C-Dot. You and me. No Mike Evans. No Chris Godwin.
They went down the field.
Which
I can't think of a drive in recent, especially late. Now, you can usually get the Chiefs defense in the first quarter of the game.
Yes.
You maybe can get them in the third quarter. It's been a while since a team with less than 2 minutes to go in a 10-play, 70-yard drive. That's what made it so surprising that Tampa Bay didn't go for 2 there.
Right.
You had them on the ropes. You had them on the ropes. Now, I get what happened in Thursday Night Football. It fails. Like, I told you. Well, you still got to take your shot. If you were Cincinnati's defense, you didn't stop Lamar all night. Now you were going to stop him? No, go for it there. This is your best. Win the game with your offense, and you just didn't do it.
Right.
That's what made it so confusing about Tampa Bay. You got a 2-yard play to potentially win the game here.
Yes.
The analogy that I made is, and you gamble a little bit, you were trying to hit a 4-leg parlay against the Chiefs. Because think about it. So let's say you kick the extra point, right? Exactly what they did.
Yes.
So you kick the extra point. You got to stop them in regulation.
Correct.
You then have to win the coin toss.
Yep.
You then have to score a touchdown on your first drive.
Yes.
Where you could just simply convert this extra point. And now all of the pressure is on Kansas City. Now, they got Mahomes and they got 20 seconds and timeout, so sure. But then all the pressure on Kansas City is you have to get in field goal range in a short amount of time to go win this game. It didn't make any sense to me how if you are Tampa Bay and you're short here, you don't have as many bullets as Kansas City, why you would play to extend the game as opposed to trying to end it right then and there.
It's a great... no arguments. I cannot argue the other side. Hey man, that's the boogeyman over there. That's the Grim Reaper. You're gonna give Jason another down? Like, in essence, there's a reason why Baker Mayfield might as well just said, you know what, let me just take my pads off. Let me take my helmet off. Let me just go to the locker room. I don't need to see overtime. The moment they lost the coin toss, you knew, okay, that's the game. Hey, good effort, fellas. We did our job. So, no, if the Broncos find themselves in a similar situation, they should do it. Same with Cincinnati. I have no issues with what Cincinnati did. They called a timeout, saw what the coverage was, and said, hey, we know where the one-on-one matchup is. If you miss, you miss. It's a make-or-miss league in a lot of ways. So I get it. I would have loved to see maybe they would have thrown the ball to Jamar Chase, but there's little quibbles here and there. But no, you got to go for it. And if you've had to figure out that information in the middle of the season against the Chiefs, well, darn it. I could have told you that in August. So okay, whatever. But no, your point is perfect, because I just don't see how you can give that guy the ball when he's demonstrated in the fourth quarter that he can take them right down the field if necessary. And I can't remember the exact stat. Maybe you guys talked about this week, but Patrick doesn't lose in overtime.
No, he's 6-0 in the regular season.
Yeah. So what are we doing? We have a lot of information, Todd. Todd Bowles, go for it.
Yeah, you got to go for it in that scenario. You have been around a lot of athletes in a lot of different sports. Have you ever seen a player who is so happy to be traded in the middle of the season like D-Hop? He cried on the field. I'm not even saying I'm not poking fun of him at all. I'm so happy to be here in Kansas City. I've never seen a player who got traded in the middle of the season that is as grateful of the football gods have finally blessed me. I finally have a chance. I'm going to win. I'm going to play in a postseason game.
I'm really trying to think hard, ladies and gentlemen, because this feels more like baseball or basketball in a sense. And of course, those guys play more games, so there is a little bit more of emotion tied to it when you're like, man, I finally did it. I'm finally going to the postseason. In the NFL, in the modern era, where you get traded mid-season, I mean, I know he posted the photo of Tom Brady and Randy Moss, but Randy Moss never cried. Randy Moss is just throwing up the hand, like, yo. I remember, I'll never forget that first game against the Jets where they just said, I could just go deep whenever. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like, it was more of a party, festivals type feel. Like, this is going to be amazing. I can't think of one. That's such a good point, because not only was this man trying to catch passes from Mason Rudolph and Will Levis, which I had to watch that Will Levis film, and I said, my God, man, get this kid off. Like, hey,
He's back this week, by the way.
Due to injury.
So if you're excited about watching,
I'm assuming that game's at noon, right?
Of
Thank
course,
God.
Of course.
Thank God I don't have to watch that.
I don't even know what time you think that Tennessee would be playing football.
Right. The only other time, I guess, is if they were in Munich, right? But I know that's Carolina, New York. So, okay. Whew, they could put that thing on at 3 a.m. and I ain't tuning in. The best part is that, like, they listed all the, ESPN listed all the quarterbacks he caught the ball from. And I said, you know what? Pat looked him in his eye and he just couldn't believe it. Carrington, he just couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't even know if I don't even know if one of our boys has like dated someone and is like on the verge of tears after like date 1, date 2. So I don't know if the text line can think of something, but I can't think of, man, I just got to a new team and I'm like tearful within like less than a month of being around everybody.
A month, 2 weeks. They just traded for. Think about it. The NFL trade deadline was Tuesday. He's been on the team for like 13 days. It's like, finally.
Yeah, like it's not even something where it's like, I remember the Red Sox traded for Dave Roberts in that 2004 season, right? So they trade for him, but like he wasn't crying until they beat the Yankees.
Yeah, until they won.
Yeah, until he like stole a base off of Mariano Rivera. Like again, I have nothing to compare it to. But just like, yeah, the fact that like he took a deep breath and then he was like, we just playing ball. And then he took another deep breath and was like, I'm just grateful.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just like, wow.
You know what? If you haven't done anything and you were in the league whenever Matt Schaub was playing for the Texans, I get why you would be grateful to play with Patrick Mahomes. All right, we played a game earlier. It did not go well. We're going to try it again here. 913-586-7965. Quentin, set me up here. We're going to give somebody a chance to win a pizza here. We already gave a pizza away. I'm not doing that again. We're not giving any participation trophies away like we did earlier. Shout out to George. We are going to play our game. 913-586-7965. That's coming up. Nate Taylor's here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5. The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Planning to propose this holiday? Shane Company is ready to help you find your dream engagement ring. We handpick the most beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. So when you walk in the door, you can trust your rock is in stock. At Shane Company, we've always sourced directly, cut out the middleman, and pass the savings on to you. We work with your budget, not against it. We'll also protect your ring for life with our free unmatched lifetime warranty. Come see us at shaneco.com and in-store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts at treating ED. And as a Promenic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season. a renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
If you had the crystal ball, you wouldn't agonize over when to sell your home. You'd just ask, should I sell while my home's value is sky high, or wait and hope the bottom doesn't drop out of the housing market? The thing is, I'm not ready to move. You don't need a crystal ball with TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You can literally sell now and stay in your home as long as you like. When you sell your home to TrueHold for its best current value, you can fully cash out your home's equity, and you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance too. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get an offer now while your home's value is sky high, and use the money to secure your retirement, pay off bills, or finance your dreams. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's current best value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single-line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact... every bite is better with Pepsi.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe, Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
There's a stalled car closing the right lane. This is southbound lanes of 49 highway, just past 140th Street. That area was slow anyway, but now we're adding to the slowdowns with that stalled car. Also seeing some brake lights out of the 435 and 70 exchange via eastbound 70. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
All right. Earlier today, we just gave a pizza away for really just no reason. I don't even know why we did that. I'm getting soft in old age. I'm just here, here, just take the pizza. I mean, somebody has to eat it. But I'm not doing that now. It's the 5 o'clock audience. We got to be tougher on folks. So, Nate, this is the rules of the game.
Okay.
I have written down every quarterback that has started for the Broncos since Peyton Manning's last start up until Bo Nick's first start. I'm going to give Justin 30 seconds. gonna give him 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Name as many of them as he can. Drew, on the midday show, the producer, we also recorded his answer.
Okay.
If Justin ties or does better than Drew, we'll give him the pizza.
I mean, anybody can do that, right?
we would hope. George did not earlier today.
Oh.
Or if you do worse than Drew, you don't get the pizza and we give it to somebody on the text line. That is the way that this goes. All right, Justin, do you understand the rules to the game?
I understand the rules.
Let's go.
We're going to give you a clock. It's going to be 30 seconds. You'll hear a buzzer. Name as many Broncos starting quarterbacks since Peyton Manning that you can. All right, on your mark, get set, go.
You know what? I can't think of anything right now. I am so sorry.
Justin, who was our starting quarterback last year?
I don't know. Drew's going to beat me. I apologize.
Turn the music off.
Not a good look.
I mean, he's Anthony Richardson. He subbed himself out of the game.
Ooh. Wow.
Instantly. Who was the quarterback last year?
I mean,
they made a big trade.
Yep.
He was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Still in the league.
I'm going to tell you, the only reason I'm upset.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you the only reason. These are the people that call me an idiot on the text line. These are the same people that say I don't know what I'm talking about on the text line.
You hate to see it. You really do.
Do we even want to hear?
I'm always willing. I'm always willing to give people a second chance, but I don't know.
You guys don't remember when this guy was the starting quarterback?
Let's ride. Let's ride.
Perfect.
Perfect.
One more time, Broncos country, let's ride.
Broncos country.
Is she
let's
still
ride.
with the organization?
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride.
You guys don't remember Mr. Unlimited?
Just put my jersey on for the first time. Broncos orange, let's ride. Green screening it with my boy. Yes, sir. Let's go. We in the orange, baby. Let's go. Let's ride, baby.
Oh my God, what a bid. Oh.
I can't, what? Text line 913-586-7965. You guys pick weak contestants. I don't have anything to do with who gets on.
Oh.
That's a Rob Quentin issue.
Yeah.
Can we at least hear Drew? I mean,
sure.
We might not ever play this game again. I actually like this game. It's a fun game. It's a trip down memory lane. It's
easy.
Never mind.
It should
All right,
be.
after Peyton Manning, it was the downfall of the Denver Broncos regarding the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Paxton Lynch, I think, was a quarterback.
Yeah.
We got Drew Lock as a quarterback.
Obviously.
Was Ryan Mallett, RIP, a quarterback for the Broncos at one time, potentially? Bonix, you can't include him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Gosh.
It's bad.
Oh, Trevor Siemian. I don't know anybody else.
I don't know anybody else.
How? He just started last year.
Yeah,
You know what I'm starting to think happens? This is what I'm starting to think. I'm really starting to feel this way. You guys, you know how, like, you don't learn things from memory? That's how you guys treat regular season games. You just don't remember regular season games anymore. You know, back in the old Chiefs days, we all know a 90s Chiefs fan. They've told you that Montana Magic regular season story. You heard that story 100 times in your life. Like,
of course.
You remember this. Or you remember whenever Steve Young in San Francisco came to Kansas City and they put a beat down on them. Remember the time that they smoked the Atlanta Falcons and I think they scored like 6 rushing touchdowns and then Brian Waters won Offensive Player of the Week? You guys don't remember regular season games anymore. That's what I'm starting to figure out. That's what I'm learning. Chiefs fans, you really don't care about the regular season. No, this was a good exercise now in hindsight. Y'all really don't pay attention to the regular season. Russell Wilson?
Nothing. I mean, what can we do? See,
I can't do anything.
What can we do?
I can't do anything. I can't do anything.
Wow.
I'm sorry. All right, let's get back to, I guess, very serious things. Are you burying the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yes, of course.
You saw my Twitter earlier today.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that are not ready to bury the Cincinnati Bengals.
Come on. Like, they are who we thought they were. Not necessarily, but you get my point. No, they're cooked, man. They're done. It's a wrap. It's okay, guys. Like, some years, it just doesn't go your way. Even though you think you got a pretty talented roster, you think you in the mix. Yeah, this was supposed to be the hardest division in football. Even with Deshaun Watson, like, that's a pretty good roster in Cleveland. I didn't know he was going to be terrible yet again. And look, the Cincinnati Bengals have had some issues based on salary cap, the fact that some of their best defensive players have moved elsewhere. Hey, it happens, the roster turnover, it happens in the NFL, but you still got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, hell, even Mike Gesicki playing well. Bro, it's over. It's curtains. It's okay. Like, we don't have to do this.
The biggest point to me with Cincy, we're going to talk more about them coming up in just a bit, is like, when does you are what your record kick in?
It's November.
You're preparing for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And they're under 500. Like, at some point,
over.
At some point, we have to move past the moral victory, and you got to get 9 tangible wins. I don't care how you get to 9. I don't care how you get to 270. It has got to add up at some point. It got to add up at some point.
Right.
You got to get to 9. I don't care if you beat the worst teams in the league. You got to get there. I don't know how you can trust Cincinnati to get to 9 wins.
How can I trust them on December 1st coming out of their bye week against Pittsburgh? I mean, I think TJ Watt's gonna terrorize Joe Burrow. Now look, they do get the Chargers, which I guess is their last stand. Next week, coming off the 10-day rest. It's in Los Angeles. I mean, okay, you could beat Dallas, you could beat Tennessee, Cleveland is Cleveland.
I mean, they could beat all of those teams. They also could
lose to all of those.
To the Patriots.
Yes, they could also lose to all of those teams.
Once you lose to the Patriots, I don't want to hear any more schedule games. The schedule game conversation is over. That is our guy, Nate Taylor, joining us in studio. We're excited about another game. And next week, man, really excited. Chiefs and Bills.
Yes.
That's the best regular season game in the National Football League.
Yes, Lord.
Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get you ready for Chiefs and Broncos. We'll get you ready for KU and North Carolina. And we'll also talk about Cincinnati, who they are under 500 since the Burrowhead comments. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
There's a stalled car closing the right lane. This is southbound lanes of 49 highway, just past 140th Street. That area was slow anyway, but now we're adding to the slowdowns with that stalled car. Also seeing some brake lights out of the 435 and 70 exchange via eastbound 70. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
This Sunday, November 10th at 8 o'clock, 7 Central, it's the epic return of Yellowstone. America's #1 show is on the Paramount Network. What will become of the Dutton family? Can they protect the Yellowstone Ranch? How far will Beth and Rip go to save the family legacy? Generations of blood have led to this moment, and nothing will prepare you for it. It's the epic return of Yellowstone, this Sunday, November 10th at 8 o'clock, 7 Central, only on the Paramount Network.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts today and we'll install them for free. See better and drive safer with O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts today and we'll install them for free. See better and drive safer with O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR and Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR and Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play roofer roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Selling a home is stressful, and you want an agent you can trust. My friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, will bring the most buyers. Find out what your home is worth in a matter of seconds at homesforsaleandkc.com. Click the button, How much is your home really worth? Then you can decide if you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold with their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
Listen to the Chiefs and Broncos game on Sunday with pregame starting at 9, kickoff at noon with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. My name is Carrington. Very happy to be here. Quentin is here as well. Rob is off today. He went to the KU and North Carolina game. Good luck to both teams. That's what I'll say. They're college kids. You know, I'm not actively rooting against anybody in these matchups. I want to see a tightly contested, well-played game on both sides. That's what I'm rooting for. Quentin, don't even look at me. I bet on KU today.
I don't believe you.
I'll show you my parlay.
I believe you
made.
bet on KU. I don't believe that you want a well-contested, good luck to both sides. I don't believe that.
No, I mean, the fact that they were giving away a boost on FanDuel is a 50% boost. Yeah, so I'll even tell you what I took. I took KU on the money line. I also took Hunter Dickinson to have 15 points, and I took him to have 10 rebounds today. I got it at plus 210. I got to watch the game anyway. Let me at least try and make a little bit of money while I'm watching the game. And then if they lose, I'll be a little disappointed.
Yeah,
but
there
you
we
know
go.
what? The loss will just, it won't be that bad. It's not the worst thing that can happen, All right, so a lot to get into. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about the Bengals, but I think the Bengals are a pretty important story. Let me read to you guys a tweet that popped up earlier today from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. I know how much you guys love Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. So the tweet from Mike Florio after Thursday Night Football yesterday that has been making the rounds is about the Cincinnati Bengals. Let me pull it up here for you guys really quickly. The team that is the most happy about the Bengals' struggles right now are the Kansas City Chiefs. With each Bengals loss, they come closer to not having to face their kryptonite in the postseason. Joe Burrow is the only active quarterback to ever beat Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. So I'm sure this is the sentiment that a lot of you also agree with. We don't want to see Cincinnati again anymore. They've always played Kansas City tough. It's fine to have that opinion. But I want to give you some facts because I can't argue with your feelings on things. All I can do is try to present the facts of this. Did you guys know that since the Burrowhead comments, Cincinnati is 13-15 since then? They are 7-7 in home games, and they also are 0-3 at Arrowhead. So let's even say that you remove the games against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 13-12 against the rest of the NFL since they last went to the AFC Championship game. I only bring this up for Cincinnati is at some point with them, we have to talk about what they are and not what we think they can be. I'm not willing to play the schedule game for a team that lost to the New England Patriots earlier in the season. I'm not willing to play that game. I'm not willing to play a schedule game with a team that their only wins are against four of the worst teams in the league. Every win that they have is against a team that would currently pick in the top 5 of the NFL draft, and they all have 2 wins. So if you were telling me that I should still hold out hope for the Cincinnati and they've got this and they've got that, we got to talk about the facts. Did you know that right now every team in the AFC has given up fewer points in their defense? They are 16th in the AFC in defense. So wait, you're telling me this. You're telling me that the Bengals are not good at winning close games. You're also telling me they can't protect their quarterback. And you're also telling me that they could quite possibly have the worst defense in the AFC. And they're also 30th against the pass. That's not a team to me that goes on a run at the end of the season. I know that the AFC is down. I know the AFC is weak. But there's 3 groups of teams. There's the contenders. Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. The contenders. I would then say there's the middle. There's about 4 or 5 teams that are in the middle. And maybe that's where you want to put Cincinnati. Maybe the middle's a little bit bigger than that. That's where you put your Denvers. That's where you put your Los Angeles Chargers. That's where you put a handful of teams are right there in the middle. That's why I would put Pittsburgh. I think they're in the middle. And then you got the absolute dregs of the league. Tennessee's terrible. The Patriots are terrible. Those teams. So if you're telling me that Cincinnati is still in it because they're not up for the number 1 overall pick, sure. But what has Cincinnati shown you that would suggest that in the second half of the season, they're about to get right, get hot, and go on a little bit of a run? The playoff is kind of simple. I would say it's way more straightforward than what we think it is in college football. If you want to be a wild card team, you got to win at least 9 games. You're not getting a wild card spot with a losing record. You can maybe win the right division in the right year at 8-9. You are not making the playoffs as a wild card team with a losing record. So if you think that Cincinnati is going to make the postseason, they got to figure out a way to get to 9. they've got 4. And they have one game between now and the 1st of December. There's not a lot of time left. It's not early anymore. It was kind of cute to blow off those assignments early in the semester. Man, we're past the midterms now, and you still got a D. So you better put some A work together in the second half of the semester, or you are going to fail this class. And so far, that is all really what we've seen from the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm not a believer in Cincinnati. I'm willing to kick dirt on the Cincinnati Bengals. It is important to note that since they said this,
We'll see y'all in Burrowhead. Yeah, baby. Let that sink in your mind. We'll see y'all in Burrowhead.
and since their mayor said this.
Good afternoon, Cincinnati. I have a proclamation from the desk of the mayor. Be it proclaimed, whereas the Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Burrowhead Stadium for their second consecutive AFC Championship game. Whereas at last year's game, the Bengals scored more points than the Chiefs, resulting in a Bengals victory and a Chiefs loss. Whereas Joseph Lee Burrow, who's 3-0 against Mahomes, has been asked by officials to take a paternity test confirming whether or not he's his father. Whereas all season long, Cincinnati has been on a path of destiny, fighting it out to overcome anyone who stands between them and a Super Bowl win. And whereas Kansas City is named after its neighboring state, which is, just kind of weird. Now, therefore, I, Aftab Purval, Mayor of the City of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim January 29th, 2023 as They Gotta Play Us Day in Cincinnati. Thank you.
Since that soundbite, they have won fewer games than the Denver Broncos. That's who Cincinnati is. That's who they are. Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, they've won 2 games by 1 point. I get it. Good teams find a way to win, but I'm not counting them out yet. They're still a good team. They're 4-6 through the first 10 games of the season. If you think that they're a good team, then you think they're going to turn into the Chiefs in the second half of the season. The Chiefs go 6-1 over 7-game stretches. The Lions go 6-1 over 7-game stretches. Average teams don't really get hot in that way, not in the second half of the season. So again, I don't think they're a good team. I think they used to be a good team. Every team that we talk about, I guess in this context, I've seen them grow and develop over the course of the last couple of years. You can't say that about Cincinnati. We've seen since they said the Burrowhead comments, we've seen the Lions improve. We've seen Kansas City evolve and change and adapt and continue to be a great team. Baltimore, still really good. Buffalo is still really good. All of those, San Francisco has been to the Super Bowl since then. All of those teams are still good. Cincinnati has not shown us that they're a good team in a year and a half. And it used to be a what have you done for me lately kind of league. What you've handed me is mediocre work. Outside of playing the Chiefs, you have been 13-12 in your last 25 games. And now I'm supposed to think that team's going to win 5 of their next 6, and now we can start counting automatic wins for them? No, I'm not doing that with the Cincinnati Bengals. You got to prove it to me. We used to live in the show me state. What has Cincinnati shown you of late? They haven't shown me anything.
And if you just look at some of the other wild card teams, we got to remember that the Steelers are technically winning the AFC North, which means the Baltimore Ravens are a wild card team. Then you look at numbers 6 and 7. We've got the Chargers and the Broncos both filling that spot. We've talked about the reasons why the Broncos have been good. When you look at the Broncos this year, there are reasons to say, hey, there are good things about that team. The Chargers, same thing. When Chargers week comes around, and even when we faced them earlier, we're like, look, John Harbaugh, what can they do? They can run the ball. They've got a good quarterback. Then you've got teams on the bubble like the Colts who have made a shift at quarterback that probably makes them a better team. And even if you look at the Bengals, the rest of the AFC North, you've got the Browns, who are only 2 wins back from them, have made a switch at quarterback, and they look better than what they did the week beforehand. I don't need to hear about the Bengals anymore, because if you just look at it, the deck has been stacked against them because of their actions early in the year. There is nothing that the Bengals can do. I don't think that they're going to win the next 5 out of the next 7 games. You still got to play the Steelers twice. I just don't think that there's anything that they can do moving forward in order to make the playoffs, even though there are seven different opportunities.
You know what, Quentin? I will give you de facto hit number 1 here with your thoughts about Xavier Worthy. I have a lot of thoughts, but you know what? You're a guest here. I will give you hit number 1 with your thoughts about Xavier Worthy. Hit the music!
It's 5 o'clock. and your wife has tuna casserole ready for you at home, might as well get caught up on the biggest stories of the day in Kansas City with C-Dot and Rob. This is The Hits. Number 1.
Yeah, so my thing is with Xavier Worthy and what I think is going to be a new passing offense with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins. I know he's been here for a couple weeks, but I think we saw what Xavier Worthy is now going to be inside of this Chiefs offense because of what DeAndre Hopkins brings to the offense. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of Xavier Worthy, getting some of those schemed up plays anymore over the middle. I think what we saw on Monday, right? He gets one deep open pass. Maybe he gets some more of those end arounds, and that's okay. Xavier Worthy, we know what he is. He needs time to develop. DeAndre Hopkins, the fact that he's going to get more of those targets is a good thing for Xavier Worthy. I think that's what he is moving forward.
All right, fade the music down a little bit, and let's talk a little bit more extended about Xavier Worthy. I was thinking this as Nate Taylor was talking earlier when we asked him this question, and he said that Xavier Worthy is a home run hitter. Usually we make a basketball analogy. Let's use a baseball analogy this time. Let's keep with the home run hitter theme. I don't disagree about Xavier Worthy. I think he absolutely is a home run hitter. I think we also know, at least at this stage in his career, he doesn't really hit for average, and he's also not going to walk. So sometimes that guy is going to have a 2-for-4 day. He's going to hit 2 home runs, and boy, it's going to look great. He's also going to have some 0-for-4 days where he strikes out 4 times, and you are going to want to pull your hair out. I think that's what we've seen Xavier Worthy be. I think we have seen what it can look like when it really works. That game 1, it really, really worked. But I think it's important to note that since the first game, so since the end-around touchdown he scored, his first touch of the game, he has had 16 yards rushing since then. So in his last 7 games, he has not been a great rushing threat for the Kansas City Chiefs. Over the course of the last 4 games, he also has 70 yards receiving in those games too. So he hasn't really been a great passing threat for you either. I think we need to be a little bit more realistic about sort of what we think he's going to be. Xavier Worthy came out of college as a 5'11", 165 speedster guy. He was never the route runner that Devontae Smith was at Alabama. He was a good prospect with some upside that in the right system, in the right scheme, it could work. Now, I think it's important to note, Kansas City is the right scheme, but I don't think that Xavier Worthy is the lead singer of your group. I think he can be a really strong backup singer. And because of the injuries that they have in that wide receiver room, you're kind of asking Xavier Worthy to be something that he's not. Some guys are just 12-point-per-game scorers. You might put them in a system and you think they're going to become 21-point-per-game guys, but no, that's not what he is. He's a 12-point-per-game, knock down a couple of shots, play defense. I think that's what Xavier Worthy is, but because of the injuries, more has been sort of expected to him in this offense. I think he's coming along just fine with what I thought he was going to be at the very beginning of the year. I just think it's going to take some time. There just aren't many prospects that come into the National Football League at 21 years old, less than 6 foot, 165 pounds, and they're just dominating the league. Sure, we can find a couple of examples. That's what Jackson was coming out of Cal, Deshaun Jackson. That's also what Devontae Smith was. Devontae Smith won the Heisman Trophy as a wide receiver. You know how good of a wide receiver you got to be to win the award? Think about that. He's one of the 3 wide receivers to win the award in the last 30 years. That's not the kind of prospect any of us thought that Xavier Worthy was. And he's not Deshaun Jackson. The league is also different than that time with how teams are defending and doing all those kind of things. So I think that Worthy is actually developing at a pretty reasonable pace with where we are. I'm with you. I would like to see a little bit more in the screen game, see a little end around, see a lot of that stuff kind of infused into the offense. And I think they'll do a good job of manufacturing those touches. But we've passed the first half of the season. We are now entering into the second half of the season. And let's see how his role continues to develop.
I think you're exactly right. I would like to see some more bubble screen games, especially when we play some aggressive defenses. We're going to see that coming up. I imagine Buffalo is going to play pretty aggressive against Mahomes, so I would like to see him used in some more of those. But to end this conversation, it's okay that he's not going to be, the reception-heavy guy that some of you guys thought he was going to be. Man, Vegas had him 755.5 yards for his total heading into this year. That was never going to happen, and we should be okay with what we have because of DeAndre Hopkins coming here. We should be very happy with what we get from Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, and also just looking at his kind of splits and how you kind of added up over the course of the year, I would say that this is probably in line to what you thought he was going to be. I mean, this is what he is on pace to do right now. And I would guess he would actually do a little bit better than this. Right now, his 17-game average, he is on pace to have 40 catches for 499 yards and have 6 receiving touchdowns and have 2 rushing touchdowns. If I had told you that Xavier Worthy was going to have a little less than 600 yards from the line of scrimmage and also have 6 touchdowns, that's exactly what you would have taken in the beginning of the season. But they don't have Hollywood Brown, so somebody's got to step up in that role. They don't have Juju now. Somebody's got to step up in that role. I just don't think it's going to be Xavier Worthy, and I think that's perfectly fine. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
All right, hit number 2 is, let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins and what we think his role is going to be on this team. Because I think this team is kind of in need of consistent wide receiver presence. There's sort of 3 questions that I have heading into this game. Number 1 is, can the Chiefs just have an easy fourth quarter? When's the last time the Chiefs just had an easy, carefree, stress-free fourth quarter? You know, for a team that's clearly the best, for a team that's running circles around the rest of the league, you know what would be really good at like 2:15? If you could just turn the Chiefs game off or just go do something else because they're comfortably in the lead. But that's usually not how it is. It's really tight heading into the third quarter. You got to be banging the back of your seat at Arrowhead. You know what? What if they played a game where they were up 21-3 going into half? You guys remember when Taylor Swift first to the game? When was the last time they did a team like how they did the Chicago Bears? Just an outright beatdown. Just, we're better than you. We're going to show you that we're better than you. And then we're going to go out afterwards and we're going to have an amazing time. We saw the Ravens do that last week to the Broncos. Can the Chiefs do that to the Broncos? We'll obviously see. We talked about Xavier Worthy and what his role can be on this team as we head into the second half of the season. I also think it's about D-Hop and continuing to build that rapport with Patrick Mahomes and get him to a point where next week, I don't want to say that next week is a must-win game because obviously they can lose this game, they can go on the road or whatnot. But if you really take a look at the standings, I cannot think of a regular season game that has more importance for Kansas City over the course of the last couple of years. You're already 4 games up on Baltimore. You're 3 games up on Houston, and you play them later in the year. You also play Pittsburgh. I mean, this is the difference. So let's say Kansas City wins this week, Buffalo wins this week, right? And then you play each other. Winning next week puts you 4 games ahead of Buffalo. Losing puts you 1 game ahead of Buffalo with 7 to go. That's drastically different out of the 2. So getting DeAndre Hopkins continued ready for that and what his role is going to be in the offense, I think is still one of the top storylines for this team. There's not a lot of, I think, kind of check engine-like signs right now for the Chiefs. Wide receiver is one of those. And I would also say it's corner and kind of how you hold up in that scenario. Now, I don't really think that Denver is a team that's going to challenge you with their wide receiver unit against your cornerback room. And you feel like you can cover Cortland Sutton. They don't really have a great tight end. That's been a weakness for the Kansas City Chiefs. But Denver's not a team to me that can outscore Kansas City. They can muddy the game up and make the game a low-scoring 19-17 weird kind of game. But if this game is 28-24, the Broncos are not scoring 28 points against the Kansas City Chiefs unless they get some tremendous help from Kansas City to do that. But are the Broncos kind of squirrely enough to really muddy this game up? Bo Nix runs around and makes a few plays. They protect the football. They turn Kansas City over a couple times, and they make this a low-scoring game that's played under 21. I don't think they can do that if D-Hop has a good game.
Yeah, if DeAndre Hopkins goes off, then I think that you're looking at a Chiefs winning comfortably. The Denver defense, has had a pretty good year up to this point. They're 3rd in the NFL in points per game at 17.9, and they've played some pretty big offensive teams. So not only they're third in the NFL, right? They lost 41-10 last week. So, that's going to take a hit to your average. But they also beat Tampa Bay 26-7 early in the year before all of their wide receivers got hurt. So this is a team that has stood up to some better teams and has been able to play good defense. We talked about earlier about how they have the 8th best rush defense with only allowing 4 yards per carry. So if they're going to try and come in and win this game, they're going to need to shut Kansas City's run defense or run game down with Kareem Hunt, who was on the injury report earlier this week. While we're expecting him to play, is this the sort of game that he gets beats up on and isn't able to get his 3 yards a carry, basically every time he carries the ball? So that's how Denver is. If they're looking for a way to win, that's how they're going to have to do it. And if they are able to do that, it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, to me, that's the only way that the Broncos can beat the Chiefs is if this game becomes a rock fight. And I would say they have the defense. It's a possibility. I've told you guys over the course of the week, there aren't many games on the Chiefs' schedule that I would say, I'm a little worried about this game. Sure, the Chiefs can lose. It's football any given Sunday. But this is a game that worries me a little bit about the Broncos. And the Broncos have some of the ingredients you think to make this game a little bit more uncomfortable than it needs to be in the final 10 minutes of this game. Now, and we could talk about this more coming up on the other side, there's a major question that the Broncos have to answer against Kansas City. You have a very inexperienced quarterback, and how is that guy going to handle the pressure that Kansas City is going to bring? And we know that Spags is going to scheme this thing up. Bo Nix is going into the toughest environment that he has played so far in his young career, and he's also going up against, by far and away, the most complex defense that he has gone up against. We'll talk about that coming up on the other side. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This Sunday, November 10th at 8 o'clock, 7 Central, it's the epic return of Yellowstone. America's #1 show is on the Paramount Network. What will become of the Dutton family? Can they protect the Yellowstone Ranch? How far will Beth and Rip go to save the family legacy? Generations of blood have led to this moment, and nothing will prepare you for it. It's the epic return of Yellowstone, this Sunday, November 10th at 8 o'clock, 7 Central, only on the Paramount Network.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheet Metalworkers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymokenschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
The holidays are a magical time to get engaged. At Shane Company, we're here to help you create your dream engagement ring in just 3 easy steps. Choose a setting that speaks to your style. Compare diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. Then personalize it with a decorative crown and special engraving. Or choose a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, you'll find everyday competitive prices, a no-pressure environment, and an unmatched free lifetime warranty. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellmann's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Emergency vehicles on the Kansas side, southbound 435 at Holiday Drive. On the right shoulder, but obviously some slowdowns around it. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Let me update you guys on something college football related. Brady Cook is not expected to play tomorrow against Oklahoma, so it sounds like Drew Pine's going to start for Missouri. This season had so much promise. Quentin, they were ranked in the top 12 to start the season. And they had a squishy schedule this year. It was tailor-made to do something special. It really was. It was gifted to you from the SEC gods, and now they're going to win 7 games. I mean, I just wanted to share that information with you guys that Brady Cook he's not going to play tomorrow. So good luck to Missouri as they take on Oklahoma in a vaunted, a long-standing SEC matchup. I mean, you got to throw out the record when those two teams play an SEC play, just a long-standing rivalry. Up there with Auburn, Alabama, up there with Georgia, Florida, just long-standing, great, all-time SEC rivalries, Quentin.
I didn't have high hopes for this game, heading into it before
I'm watching it.
Yeah, before the news even came out, just because I didn't think it was going to be a very intriguing game to begin with. But man, that really, as Jay Binkley would say, whiz in your Wheaties. So yeah, that's no fun.
Let's talk a little bit about Bo Nix here for a bit. Bo Nix has actually put together a pretty decent, pretty competitive rookie season. I think this is the rookie season that I would say, if you're not going to get one of those top prospects, like they didn't get Jaden Daniels, they didn't get Caleb Williams, this is kind of the year that you would want your rookie quarterback to have. He is on pace. So this is what he's on pace to do this season. He's on pace to throw for 3,300 yards. He's on pace to run for about 700 yards this season. And he's thrown 15 touchdown passes and on pace to have 8. Like he's had a pretty good, solid season. I am going to be really curious to see how Bo Nix performs against this defense. There's only, I would say, one team on their schedule that is anywhere close to what this team is defensively, and that's Pittsburgh. They played Pittsburgh earlier this year, and it went kind of how you thought it would go with Bo Nix going up against a defense of that magnitude. The Broncos scored 6 points in that game. Bo Nix did not throw a touchdown pass. The Steelers made them very, very one-dimensional. Javonte Williams had 11 carries for 17 yards in that matchup. They just completely squeezed the life out of the Broncos offense. Now, that was week 2, and now this is week 10, so we'll see if Bo Nix has developed or not. But we've seen him go up against an elite defense, and it didn't look very good the first time. Are the Broncos going to be able to run the ball against Kansas City? No one's been able to really run the ball consistently against Kansas City. And do they have enough weapons on the outside where if Bo Nix is going to have to throw it 30, 35, 40 times, is that a game script that he can handle? That's what happened against the Steelers. He threw it 35 times, and he didn't throw a touchdown pass, and their offense was completely out of whack. I think this is a really telling stretch for the Denver Broncos. They beat Tampa Bay earlier in the season, and since then, their wins are the Jets, Raiders, the Saints, and the Carolina Panthers. So this is a big jump up in terms of degree of difficulty. They got blown out last week against the Ravens, and they have Atlanta next week. So you played a playoff team in Baltimore. You were not competitive against that team. You go on the road in your division and play Kansas City, a team over the last couple of years, they haven't won a whole lot, but they've been kind of competitive against Kansas City. They beat them last year 24-9. Vic Fangio and that defense always kind of gave the Chiefs a little bit of trouble. And then you got Atlanta at home next week, and they are maybe the second best team in the NFC. That there's a handful of teams, and we talked about that off the jump in regards to Cincinnati. There's a handful of teams in the AFC that you don't really know a whole lot about, and I think you could put the Broncos in that category. But this is the stretch that if they continue to get blown out the way that they did last week to the Baltimore Ravens, that will tell us everything that we need to know about Denver. But their quarterback's playing a little bit better than you think, and their defense has been one of the 5 best in the AFC. The Broncos have been a competitive game through the first half, or team through the first half of the season. Now we'll see if you can carry it into the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think that if Denver has Bo Nix throwing the ball 30, 35, 40 times a game, this game has been out for a while, and Kansas City is playing some prevent defense. I don't see that is not a winning strategy for the Broncos. This is going to come down to a game where if you're going to throw the ball, they have to be a quick hitters. They have to try and move the defense because Spagnuolo loves to go up against rookie quarterbacks. And while Bo Nix is somewhat mobile in the pocket, I think that this Chiefs defense with its crazy schemes and its crazy blitzes is going to be able to get after him. We talked about earlier in the show, C-Dot, about how low the average depth of target is for Bo Nix and how that is really going to be where they have to live, right? Sort of that Sean Payton, Drew Brees style of offense that he had late in the Drew Brees career, where it was quick slants, bubble screens, running backs coming out of the backfield, catching the ball. That's where the Broncos are going to have to live because I don't think that they have the firepower on the outside, and I don't think the Chiefs defense is going to give Bo Nix enough time to try and hit those deep hitters. That's where that the Broncos have to live if they're going to throw the ball.
I'm really big on yards per attempt. I think it's one of the most important stats to tell you if a quarterback is good or not. Trevor Lawrence is 16th in yards per attempt. He is at 7.3. So that's what average is. Bo Nix is at 6.0 so far. So to give you an idea of the quarterbacks that are around him in yards per attempt, it's Spencer Rattler, Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson, Will Levis, Aiden O'Connell. It's that group. Now, that's not uncharacteristic for a quarterback in his first year. That's actually kind of how it goes. And then you kind of move up the list as you become a more confident passer, understand defenses better, et cetera, and those kind of things. The Chiefs usually perform pretty well against those kinds of quarterbacks. Like if you're telling me there's really no vertical threat for what the Broncos can do offensively, they also don't really have a strong tight end. I would say if you were trying to find any weakness for this defense, you would probably say the Chiefs don't defend tight ends very well. They didn't defend the Ravens tight end very well last week against Tampa Bay with Cade Otton. He had a pretty decent game against them. That's probably the one area of the field and player that kind of gives their defense a little bit of trouble. The Broncos also aren't a team that can really take advantage of that. So it's really going to come down to, can the Broncos run the football successfully, and can they maintain a little bit of balance, because we saw what Pittsburgh was able to do to them. And if that's the same game script for Denver, that is just not a game that I think they can win.
And I think that the Chiefs can play the Pittsburgh style of defense against them, where, you're really just squeezing the life out of it, right? You trust McDuffie on the outside, and, whatever rotations of corners that you think that the Chiefs are going to have, I'm trust that they're able to work against the, whatever wide receiver that the Denver Broncos are going to put out there as their number 2. And so if Kansas City is going to play, these big guys up front and just go after the quarterback, I think that that is a winning record for what Kansas City is able to do. And we haven't even talked about, the Chiefs offense side of it. I think that not only just because of DeAndre Hopkins and what we talked about earlier, but we haven't even talked about, what's Travis Kelce been able to do against the Broncos, and who on the Broncos is going to be able to stop Travis Kelce.
Yeah, you would have to think that they're maybe going to try Surtain at least at some point to try to slow him down, but you also have DeAndre Hopkins that you would think Surtain would go up against him. I mean, that's a really, really difficult matchup for the Broncos, certainly. We talked about this a little bit with Nate Taylor about the cornerback position. Trent McDuffie, who I think is certainly inserted himself into that conversation of being the best corner in the NFL. Really, at this point, to me, the only difference between what people think about McDuffie and where they kind of put Sauce Gardner and where they put Trent McDuffie really comes down to Trent McDuffie just doesn't have an interception yet. And we kind of know how this works. The guys that get the interceptions usually are the guys that get talked about. Now, I get it. Trent McDuffie plays with the best American athlete. He plays with maybe the most famous American athlete right now, and he plays with a future first ballot Hall of Fame defensive lineman. So there's only so much kind of praise to be given. But there's a lot of conversation about Patrick Surtain II and what kind of corner that he is, and I think it's a lot deserved. He's been a fantastic player. The Chiefs have a pretty comparable player on their side as well with Trent McDuffie, so you're getting a chance to see two of the better cornerbacks in the National Football League going up against each other. All right, coming up on the side, let's get to the most important games this weekend in college football, also the NFL. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted, they may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates well over 90%, which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Attention veterans and active military. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City is doubling their usual veterans discount. Veterans and active military get 10% off all month at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Choose a new garage door opener, or any service or repair and save 10%. Schedule a free in-home estimate for your new garage door, or schedule your annual garage door tune-up before winter really sets in. Schedule online at overheaddoorkc.com or call 816-221-0072.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Right now, the biggest slowdowns are concentrated southbound 35 into downtown up to the Bond Bridge. It eases up a little once you get to the Bond Bridge, and definitely some slow traffic on the southern lanes of the downtown loop. It is also starting to ease up northbound 35 into downtown. Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let's talk about some of the action that we have this weekend in both college football and the NFL. Let's start with college football. This is, I would say, a separation Saturday in the SEC. The two most important games this weekend are in the SEC. Georgia goes on the road to play Ole Miss. Over the course of the show, the line has come down a little bit. You can get Georgia -1.5 right now. So basically a coin flip kind of game. In these scenarios, I think it's always important to note, because we know how important home field advantage is. They're telling you that they think it's pretty obvious that Georgia is the best team. Now, I think that's clear, but don't let that kind of scare you off, I think, when it comes to Georgia. I'll ask you one question. Who do you trust in a big game? Is it Kirby Smart or is it Lane Kiffin? Because I know who I trust in this scenario. I trust Georgia. I think they are giving you a gift at Georgia -1.5. I think they're giving you a gift at Georgia -2.5. I think they are clearly better than Ole Miss. I think Georgia goes on the road, and I think they win. Also in the SEC, you got Alabama on the road against LSU. Now, let's be honest about what this is. This is a playoff game. I know it doesn't look like a playoff game, but trust me, Alabama is 6-2. LSU is 6-2. I know that we perceive there to be a SEC bias. LSU is not making it with 3 losses, and neither is Alabama. So whoever loses this game is out. Now, I trust Alabama a little bit more than I trust LSU, but you're talking about a night game at LSU, and they brought a live tiger to the venue. Yes, I'm talking about like Scarface. You guys remember when he got married and he was walking with Michelle Pfeiffer and they had a tiger in the backyard? LSU, they're going to have a tiger on the sideline. Now, I'm surprised that you're even allowed to do that, but they plan on having a tiger on the sideline. I'm taking Alabama. I am. I'm taking Alabama. I feel kind of bad this week because I'm taking a lot of chalk. Georgia is chalk. Alabama is chalk. I can't believe that Iowa State is only a 2.5-point favorite against Kansas. That feels very, very obvious to me. There's a handful of these games that they seem kind of obvious. Indiana, they're 14-point favorites at home against Michigan. Michigan, they can't score. So this feels like a very chalky, predictable week in college football, but it's also college football, so it is usually not as predictable as we think it's going to be. Think about last week. I didn't think Clemson was on upset alert, and they ended up losing at home to Louisville. So that is just basically kind of how this thing goes. All right, let's talk about the NFL and the games that they have this weekend in the sport. Now, I'm not saying the Chiefs and Broncos is not an important game, because it is. It's a divisional matchup. It's a very important game. I think the best game this weekend is actually Steelers and Commanders. That game is also at noon, so you're going to have to red zone that bad boy if you want to watch it. But the Commanders, they have obviously been one of the better stories in the National Football League. Pittsburgh, at least for me, maybe not for you, but for me, they have been a surprise team. I actually think that Pittsburgh goes on the road, and I think they win this game. That defense going up against a young quarterback, I'm pretty sure that Pittsburgh is also coming off their bye week, so they should be kind of healthy coming into this matchup. I think it is pretty obvious that they are better with Russell Wilson at quarterback than they are with Justin Fields. There's a lot of things to like about this Steelers team heading into the second half of their schedule, which really is about to pick up. Pittsburgh has by far and away the most difficult second half of the season schedule. They have, over the course of the next month, Washington, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. So those are their next 4 games. That's not even until you get to the second half of the season, where they have a 3-game and 10-day stretch where they play Philly on the road, Baltimore on the road, and they play Kansas City. So there is not a team in the league that has a more difficult final 2 months of the season than the Steelers. But I think they get off to a good start. I think they go on the road after their bye week, and I think they beat Washington in Washington.
This is why it was so important for Pittsburgh to get a lot of those wins early. They stacked up wins, right? We talked about this with the Royals early on in the year. We were talking about how important it is to stack up wins, because eventually your schedule is going to get harder, and that has hit Pittsburgh hard to where, yeah, they were able to take on some of the cupcakes of the league, and now they're really going to hit this schedule hard. So, I don't think that Pittsburgh is as good as their schedule says. I just don't believe in their quarterback situation, but because they were able to stack up those wins, they're going to be a contender for the playoffs.
Yeah, I do think this with Russell Wilson, and I can maybe shoot Russell Wilson a little bit of bail here. How much of our perception about Russell Wilson is because he played with Nathaniel Hackett for 1 year, where last year Russell Wilson was not bad with Denver, and he also has been pretty decent so far this year. That I understand it's like first impressions, and he went to the Broncos, and he was out of Seattle, and we all were watching, and they were supposed to be so good, and he was terrible. But over the course of the last year and a half, Russell Wilson has not been that bad. I think he's been a competitive quarterback. I don't want to say he's been one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he's been a pretty competitive quarterback. The Bills, they go on the road to play the Colts. The Colts are still trying to keep themselves in the playoff conversation. We obviously have talked about the Broncos and the Chiefs. Are the Falcons in a tough spot going on the road against New Orleans? This is where, when you gamble on these games, the fact that this line is a 3.5, oh, they're setting you up. You can see it coming a mile away. That hook, it gets you every single time. The Falcons win, but they only win by 3. The casino takes your money, and you're just sitting there mad because you knew you were right about the game, but no, you were not right about the game. We also got a sleepy 325 game. It's the Eagles and the Cowboys game. I get it. I understand it's America's team, and the Cowboys are supposed to be good this year, and the Eagles are good this year, but that's a 325. That's a nap. I'm here to tell you right now, that Eagles and Cowboys game, after the Chiefs game is up, at least in that first half, that is a nap. Listen to the 3 o'clock games. Titans and Chargers, Eagles, Cowboys, Jets, and Cardinals. Those are the 325 games. Terrible. They're all 3 terrible matchups.
Maybe the Chiefs should have been playing at 325.
Terrible matchups. No, I'm not interested in either one of them. Titans and Chargers? Terrible. I think the Cardinals are going to win at home against the Jets.
I've been saying all year that Cardinals sneaky good.
I think so too.
I think the Cardinals are a real contender for the AFC West or the NFC West. It's a down year, but I also really like their head coach. I think Kyler Murray is fun to play, and if you haven't played him before, or a guy like him before, he's hard to cover. He's been playing a little less Call of Duty, it seems like. So
that's always good.
I think that sneaky good Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually think they're going to win. They're underdogs at home. People are just still really high on the Jets. I think people have kind of overreacted to their win, given how banged up the Texans are. But yeah, I think the Cardinals are better than the Jets, and they're at home, and you're getting plus money. I think you got to take them in this matchup. So I would say that this is a very telling week in both college football and also the NFL. We went through the matchups in college, and I would say this is a really telling week for the Broncos. This is a really telling week for the Indianapolis Colts, the Steelers, and the Commanders. This is and I would also say the Jets, too. Like the Jets, we mentioned Cincinnati. The Jets have also run out of leeway as well. They're 3-6. You can't afford to continue losing games. If the Jets are going to do this thing, it starts with them going on the road and beating Arizona. All right, I'm out of here. Quentin, I appreciate your help. For those of you that are about to get ready for the KU game, good luck to both sides. As we sign off for the day, let me tell you guys, I'll let Daniel Craig take you home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
It's Sean Barber. There's nothing easier than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings, North Belt Highway in St. Joe, Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to rexbuyskc.com. That's rexbuyskc.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you do even the most routine physical activity? Have they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds, and QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Getting ready for more rain and longer nights? We've got you. Right now, you can earn up to $25 in bonus rewards when you buy 2 Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs and 2 Rain-X Quantum Elite wiper blades. More rewards and better visibility at America's #1 lighting destination, AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Offer valid for AutoZone Rewards members. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Dusty Likens, and in case you didn't already know, I'm here to tell you that you can watch all the shows here on 96.5 The Fan across all our social media channels. That's right. If you want to see our smiling